coffee, gross or great? Discuss.
Great.
It's great.
It's both.
Grios.
I like that gas station coffee.
There's like
Yeah.
I'm drinking my first ever just cup of coffee.
some tension across the table.
Seriously? Really?
Like literally had his first sip.
I couldn't
moments
believe
ago.
you when you told me.
Yeah, I've had like a coffee blend, like a coffee energy drink. I've had a Vietnamese iced coffee once. That was good. But this is just like a cup of coffee, man, and it tastes like when you burn something really bad.
Yep. Totally.
It's like that, but also
Bitter
run
in that
through a
way.
garbage can a couple times.
Oh,
That's coffee. No,
great.
that's the coffee experience.
Yeah.
You drink it because you need it, not because you
No,
like it.
I get it. It's like medicine, and it tastes like medicine, so it makes sense.
Eventually, it tastes good.
Once you burn all your taste buds off.
My taste buds are strong.
I feel like eventually it tastes good once you figure out just the right ratios of shit to dump in it.
Well,
Unless you get a taste for just like, well, I want a single origin, like a nice Sumatran blend, like some real specific.
you don't have to get up in your bullshit with the fancy pinkies out, civet poop coffee or any of that business.
Oh yeah, no, it's who would do such a thing?
What kind of monster would do that?
Yeah.
But like, there's a difference between I ran it through the percolator for 4 hours and it's black like the heart of a dying star, and hey, I go to Starbucks and I ask for a light roast,
This
a
is a
blonde,
medium,
if you will.
This is a medium roast.
That's your
First
mistake.
yeah.
Yeah, go always light.
It's they had two dark,
way
a
into
medium,
it.
and then one that was
what's
unlabeled,
up.
and so I went with the medium one because it was just what's in the lobby,
Start out light.
Look, you get a soda at Wendy's, get the medium because it's the size of a small bucket. You want a coffee, you get the light roast because you want it
But
to
you can
taste
get
like
any
coffee.
size. You can get any size for
Whatever
$1
size, yeah.
now.
Where?
McDonald's.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Well, then get the huge bucket. Then.
Yeah, that's always get the large because you never know how much you're going to need until you're in the moment.
It's like pizza.
It's like unless you're on a road trip. If you're on a road trip, never get the large.
Oh, get the large.
I don't know. I just get the large and just roll the dice.
I don't have the self control.
Yeah.
You get the large and you ask for an extra cup.
Or you just drink it fast enough. You don't need the extra cup.
Exactly. Yeah. If things get dire, you dump the cup out the window, and then whatever happens happens.
Yeah.
And then you dump the cup out the window again.
Then I'm always afraid to do that.
Yeah.
Like the penalty for failure there is real bad.
It's
There was
really
the-
hard
yeah.
to stop once you
The
start.
yellow
Pull
rear
over,
window.
like pull over.
Yeah.
At some point. Like I feel like doing that while you're driving is.
I'm talking about dumping while you're driving.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
The whole thing. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Yeah. It's just pull over,
Yeah.
go in the cup, and then dump the cup out and go. If you don't
can't
want to
take
stand
that
on the
kind of
side of the
time, man.
road.
When I was growing up, my dad was a truck driver, and I remember there was a Daily Show segment once about drivers who would pee in bottles and throw them out and just leave them on the side of the road. And I watched it. I was maybe 10, and my dad came home from work, and I was just looking at him with like the look of horror in my eyes. Like, how could you? How dare you? I just assumed that all truckers did it.
Well-
And he did. He told me he didn't, but
Do you believe him?
that's a more complicated issue that I don't think we have time to address.
What's
I
your
wouldn't-
dad's CB handle?
He's not tech. He is zero,
Okay.
He is -1 on the tech comprehension.
He drives a
He's
truck
gotta
without a
have
CB.
Yeah, he's got to have a CB.
Yeah, you gotta have CB.
Yeah.
Drive a big rig. Everything
I
I
don't
know
know.
about driving
I
big
don't
rigs.
know.
There's apparently a lot your dad isn't telling you
Yeah.
about. His
Well, I mean,
trucking
he's not
lifestyle.
he delivers to local restaurants and stuff.
Okay.
He's not like a.
He's not a
probably
long
get
haul
away.
trucker.
No.
He's not sleeping in the back of the cab, getting hooked up
No,
on
he's
bennies.
probably going to the bathroom in the restaurants, like if he needs to. I'm sure he's not pissing in bottles.
Maybe.
Some people are just into what they're into.
Yeah.
And you have to accept that.
Yeah, don't.
He's still-
don't,
he's
don't
still
No,
get
you
his
don't.
yums,
You
man.
don't have to accept that.
You have to accept that they're into what they're into. You don't have to necessarily like co-sign their thing, but you have to go,
He's still your dad, man.
Don't truck shame your dad.
Yeah. Look, just because he has a couple of secret families out there between Applebee's and Chili's doesn't mean
You mean like Denny's? Is that
Denny's.
secret family number one?
yeah, secret. Yeah,
Pete's Henny Penny.
My whole
The
mouth
son's
tastes
Denny's
like I've
and
taken
Arby's.
one sip and my whole mouth tastes like it now.
Ben's half brother Chili's.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Chili's pack. I want my Chili's pack. Chili's pack. Chili's pack.
Thank you to this mysterious bearded stranger I found on the street.
Hello.
For
I was
being
just
here.
walking down the street and someone was like, "Hey, do you want a podcast?"
You look like you'd
And
be
I
on a
said,
podcast.
You're a middle-aged white guy. You should be on a podcast. I was like, "Well, thank you. I am."
Thanks for being here.
Of course.
This
Glad
is the
to be
Giant
here.
Bombcast, your home for the finest discussion of 2016's video games.
Oh yeah.
I've been playing a lot of 2016 video games.
Yeah? Such as?
The No Man's Sky next update.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that all anybody is talking about, or is it just me?
I mean, I play PUBG a lot still, but I'm really excited about that No Man's Sky update.
Are
it's
you?
good. Okay.
I feel like some people are very
put it-
happy,
yeah.
and a lot of people are like, maybe
Oh, that's it.
put it back in the hopper for another year.
Yeah.
I think both can be true. I think, in fact, I think both are totally true.
It's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it's good, but I'm really enjoying it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
Like
I put 27 hours into it
Yeah,
since
I'm about
that
the same.
first update hit, and I am enjoying myself. I also think that game has a ton of it has a ton of rough edges, but also there's fundamental stuff about it that I still think is that could be better explained or is not a good way to handle certain situations, like inventory management and some of that stuff. And I think everything I'm enjoying about the game is probably stuff they did a year ago, because I think the multiplayer stuff, which is the big thing they're touting for this next update, feels incredibly half-baked. And the third-person camera that they added this update feels like very tacked on.
It's like weirdly swimmy.
I actually I love the third person camera for like on the ground. I'm enjoying it there. But what you said about the multiplayer is like it is. I played a lot of probably of the 25 hours I played, half of it's been multiplayer.
Like, are you opting into that?
I'm playing with friends. Like
Well, when you start the game, it defaults to like your game might show. There's a join a random game button, and it throws you into someone else's game. Like
Right.
it's a 4-player game. It's not like some seamless in and out sort of deal. Like people can join your game, but they are saying yes, join that game, as opposed to join my own game.
I see.
play by myself or join somebody else's game. So the thing that they've done really well with that multiplayer thing is something I've not seen in this kind of like jump into other people's ongoing campaigns thing, which is like unlike a Ubisoft game where you play, like when you jump into Far Cry, if I jump into Jeff's Far Cry game, I'm playing his save and like currency and stuff I collect comes back with me, but like my story progress doesn't. And with this, it seems like my story progress and all the people I'm playing with have their own set of story progresses, and we can kind of help each other out if we want, or we can just go do our own shit and just happen to be in the same world.
And I think that's good and bad, because if you help each other out, you end up in a case where only one player is going to get the rewards. Because like it's not like when you scan a thing, everyone gets credits. It's not like if you go use a terminal to solve a quest, everyone learns the word.
It depends on the quest.
Really? Because in my experience, it's just been like 4 separate games that happen to be thrown together, and it just feels like you would never want to be with another person.
So the missions on your freighter, the ones that are like the global story missions from that terminal there,
Yeah.
you all have to sign on to, and you all participate. And it seems like they maybe even ramp the difficulty based on the number of players.
So you can if I have ships, if I have freighters if I have frigates and you have frigates, we can send them all out on the same thing.
No, not those missions. There's so this is the fundamental thing about this game is like they don't explain anything.
Nope.
No.
Like it's all on. It's like playing Monster Hunter, but maybe a little worse.
I got 20 plus hours in and got to a quest where they're like, you need to build living glass, and to build living glass, you need to build glass. And I was like, I can't build glass.
I don't know where the frozen shards are that you use to make. I have the glass recipe. Never seen the stuff that you used to make the glass.
And I was streaming it yesterday, and someone was like, "Oh, you need to build the round room, and then you get the glass recipe." I'm like, "Well, fuck you! Like, come on, you could have said that."
So there's a mission terminal. You like those ones in the star bases in your freighter. It's on that center console. There's 4 stations.
Really?
It's like
Okay.
warp, talk to the dude about missions,
Yeah.
manage your fleet, and then the other one is the mission one. And if you're multiplayer, you can get all 4 people in the same ship, and then you
Okay,
can do.
so I didn't even know that terminal was there.
Oh, dude, and that was the best part of it, right? We've been playing by ourselves for 3 hours, and then we all fly up to my freighter. We get in my freighter. We sign on for this mission. We hit the warp button. We warp to another. It's like Star Trek. We're warping through the galaxy to go have some adventures and blow shit up. And then when we get to the solar system we land in, then like 2 of our guys just got kicked out into space in their spaceships. And like I'm standing on the deck. One guy, the spaceship had half loaded in, so when he tried to walk down the stairs, he just plummeted through space until he died of cosmic radiation.
Yeah.
So like
Space
that's
is dangerous.
It is.
This still sounds like a Star Trek episode.
It's so neat.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Yes.
Like it's
What is
so
neat?
ambitious.
What is neat about it? Like, how does it feel to play? Like, I assume everybody started a new game for
Yep.
this, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
start a
Like,
new game.
This is my first time going in and playing it at all.
Like, I played enough to get my ship
Kinda
working
same,
and fly off the planet. But beyond that, like, what is the experience of the first few hours?
I didn't even get off the planet before I got killed by somebody.
Oh, yeah,
Somebody
you had a
actually
very-
came into my game, but like on my starting planet, And it's like, cool. All right, I'm gonna have a little co-op buddy, you know. And it wasn't anybody on my friends list. It was just some random dude. And of course, you know, they started shooting me as soon as they.
Does that mean they started the game where they wanted to join a random game?
Yeah, they hit join a random game, and then
you
at
probably
that point,
didn't even have any shit that was worth like stealing off your corpse.
But like you just hit join a random game, and you're like, there's a player here. I'm gonna fly to them because it makes it easier for you to get to another player and then fuck with them or not fuck with them or whatever you're gonna do. I had a couple of strangers join my game, like someone landed. Or one person off my friends list joined, and then I had a stranger join. And yeah, they landed, scanned some shit that I had already scanned because none of that stuff is like
you got to upload that manually still.
And the discovery services have been offline for days now.
Really?
So
They were working last night.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's getting together or whatever. But
so you could name everything you wanted to, but it still wouldn't upload. Is that what's
all
going
butts?
on?
you still get the credits. You get the currency you would get for finding a thing.
I want other people to see my butts.
I didn't know you made money from scanning things.
Yeah.
Well, you
And
make
in fact,
nanites.
oh man, no! And also I've got a scanner upgrade that gets me like 9,000% for. So now I've got units coming in like crazy.
Yeah.
So now I'm able to finally upgrade ships and frigates and all
get
this
that
other
frigate
stuff.
money.
I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff that's fun with it. Is that like there are, and it's fun, and I also feel like it's deceptive in a way because there are a million things to do, and none of them is particularly deep on its own. But that feeling of like, fuck it, I'm gonna go do this for a little while. Is
there are things
really
to do.
engaging.
That's what you're saying.
There's an infinite number of treadmills and bars you can make go up.
As opposed to the one treadmill when they launched.
I think they had two maybe.
But there's a bunch of meters to manage.
And I've been doing a big storyline that I'm pretty sure wasn't in at launch.
That's probably. I assume that's the Atlas Rises stuff, right?
I assume
that was
so,
the last. That was last year's big update.
I have 3 main storylines right now. One of them I started twice somehow, which was that was great. It fixed itself, so I'm not complaining. But like. But like I'm just building a base. Like one of my friends is building a fleet. I'm building my base. I have like a gardener now that hangs out there, and I can buy guns there, which is really cool. Like it's a functional place.
See, I feel like so I spent a lot of time building a base, and finally got to a quest where it was like you need a science terminal and you need to get someone to recruit on it. And I was like, oh, cool. And I did that and started going down that road, and then I ran into that glass problem. And that's when someone was like, you need to build a big round room. And suddenly it's like, now you need to recruit an overseer for your base. Now you need a weapons terminal, and you need to recruit another person for your base. And so it went off, it veered off, the base building stuff veered off into this completely different direction that I had no inkling even existed.
Yeah.
And there was no hint of like, hey, maybe do this, and it'll trigger a dozen hours of shit for you to do or more. It was in some ways, it was a bummer because I had already built my base a very specific way, and suddenly it was like, oh, well, now maybe you shouldn't be using all these wood parts because the minute you use one of the big structured looking parts that I think look kind of ugly or don't fit with my base aesthetically, then suddenly that kicks off all this other stuff, and I'm like, what the?
Well, but on the other hand, you can just like throw a new base down pretty much anywhere,
Totally,
and just throw out your old garbage base.
The other weird thing about that game is that nothing matters because it will always generate more of it for you.
Yeah.
Missions where it's like I ran into one mission where it was like infiltrate this base, and I got there and landed and was spotted, and then it was like, hey, we're erasing the data you need to steal. You better hurry. And I was like, well, I'm not getting that because I'm getting gunned the fuck down.
Yeah.
And they erased the data and the mission failed out. And I was like, oh, okay. And for a minute, I was like, oh, I should reload. And I was like, oh, I don't give a shit. Actually, I can generate 9 more of these.
It's fine.
At the drop of a hat. It's fine. Like, it's so letting go of like caring about, oh, I need to hoard these resources for a thing that maybe exists later, and just going like, I'm going to spend all my shit, build all my shit, build a big dumb base. I don't care. Upgrade this because I want to. And just like, kind of play the game to my whim of just like, this is what I want to be doing right now. So it has been really fun.
The thing
but
that
it sounds like it's giving you a ton of like extra shit that's kind of like hanging over your head that it wants you to do and doesn't really want to let you do what you want to do.
Like I can, because the thing is
you
you don't
ignore that.
Yeah,
Okay.
like there's no reason to do any of that. Like once you get past hour 2 or so, basic survival needs are met like a motherfucker.
Okay.
So the idea of like, oh, I got to go get more sodium to power my suit.
Yeah.
Like whatever. Not a concern.
Well, the thing they don't do a real good job telling you is, hey, you should not be mining ferrite by the time you're 5 hours into this game. You should just go buy that at all, buy that by the
That was
thousand at
something
terminal.
someone said while I was streaming last night, and it was this thing of like, oh, right, I've got fucking 3 million credits. Why am I shooting rocks?
Yeah,
The
shooting
fuck
rocks
am I
is a
doing?
waste of time.
The fuck am
How
I
do you
doing?
get so many the thing that confuses me the most about this game is the economy when it comes to how to make money, what these other, like, so going to a space station for the first time, there's all these vendors that are willing to trade something for blueprints, and I don't even know what the little sub-currency
Those
that
are
they
the thing
want
you
is.
get for scanning stuff. Nanites. You get nanites for scanning
So you get
stuff.
nanites for
You get
scanning.
nanites for uploading your findings.
Yeah.
How do you upload your findings?
Go into the discoveries menu, and there's an upload all findings, but that doesn't actually upload all of your findings. It only uploads the planets. Then you have to click on each planet and go into the waypoints and fauna and flora and hit upload all on each one of those.
And when you complete the set, you have to click a different button to get the bonus for that.
Told you.
It's
There's a lot of rough shit in this game still for a game that was, you know, that has been out for 2 years and just had this big revamping update. Like going back to it, and I haven't played it much. I haven't played it at all since launch. Coming back to it now, and the way they touted this release is like, hey, you know, it felt like a coming out party for like, hey, it's done now. But you play it and you're like, dude, it's not.
Did you?
I'm having a great time with it, but it is not.
Did you know that there's a suit upgrade? Like get another slot on your suit guy on every single space station.
Yeah.
I discovered that last night.
Yeah, that was not there at launch, and having that there now, especially with the amount of credits I'm raking in.
Yeah.
Like the inventory management is also a baffling system that I think they have mitigated some of the issues while also creating others that are just like, these rules seem dumb.
Completely arbitrary. Like why? I have an
Completely
enormous
arbitrary.
spaceship and it can only hold 1,000 things. Yeah.
But like, okay,
In
so
16 stacks.
right,
Like why?
so okay, so when you first start the game, you have your ship and you have you. And you can find new ships that'll have more slots, and you can upgrade you to have more inventory slots as well.
Yeah.
Before I go too deeper, I will say that I think the inventory management, even at that basic level, fucking sucks.
Agreed.
Like the slot system of moving things around instead of just a list, and I just it's so,
I don't even mind so much the moving stuff around. It's like the stuff of transfer. There's your inventory. There's a ship inventory. The way you have to. Like, let's say early on you're making a lot of those fuel injectors. Is that what they're called? With the steel plate and the
launcher fuel.
Yeah. So, and then it's just like, okay, well, I only have one open slot, but I'm going to need 2, even though I ultimately need to make 1 item.
Yep.
The idea
that you
can't
can't just craft the end item, even if you have all the materials
that's
up
the
to
thing.
it,
Yeah.
sucks.
You can't just like put down like, oh, I'm going to put down
Yeah.
my carbon and then pick it back up. No, you're throwing
Well,
out.
once you build a storage container at a base, you can, but the storage containers only have 5 slots.
Yeah.
And
Why are they numbered, Jeff?
because each one is different. So your number 0 will be shared across all your bases. So if you build a number 0 at 2 bases, it has the same shit in it.
You're fucking kidding
Nope.
me.
And each one only has 5 slots. It's not like the number 9 has 50 slots. Like what the? So I unlocked all the other storage containers last night and was blown away. And
just make them all one after the other?
Are you fucking kidding me? No, I didn't make any of them because fuck. So okay, so you eventually when you walk away from your spaceship, you can't manage the inventory in the spaceship anymore,
Right.
Or you can't transfer
get an
between
upgrade.
Yeah,
There's an upgrade
There's
that
an
makes that
upgrade
work.
there's an upgrade that makes that work slightly better. But there's still a distance of like 150 units or whatever, and if you're that much further away from your ship, you can't do it anymore.
Hey, Jeff. There's an
What?
upgrade for the upgrade.
Motherfucker.
This game is late stage capitalism. The simulator.
well,
like it's like, hey, I just got a sweet ass spaceship. It's pink. It looks cool as hell. It has 35 slots.
It's a game about increasing value.
Yeah, you go into the next space that you can buy a spaceship and there's like 37 slots. You're like, fuck.
So,
Got a
okay,
garbage
all right, so you
spaceship.
can upgrade that. Great. You get a freighter. Eventually, the game pushes you into a mission that will get you a freighter. And it was fun. It was cool. And now I have a big ship in space that I can warp around. I can land on it and do shit. And there's another base to build there.
You can hit a button that makes it come right to you.
It's fucking... And it
It's
warps
really
in
cool.
front of you, and you're like, that's fucking nuts.
That sounds cool.
And so it has an inventory. If you're... Okay, so let's say I'm on a planet, on my base... I have 1 storage container. I can transfer at any time. I can transfer things to the freighter inventory. If I'm holding shit and I'm like, fuck this garbage,
Beam it up.
beam it up. cannot beam it down.
Well, no, you can hack it to the
But
storage container.
if you have a storage container, you can, for whatever reason, you can transfer things from the freighter inventory to a storage container. So you transfer it to the storage container, and then you take it out of the storage container and put it on your person or the ship.
Okay.
Look,
Like,
any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah,
Jeff.
no, I know, and this is the opposite of fucking magic. If they had put one line of dialogue somewhere in there that was like, these storage containers are fit with a special subspace blah, 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 that links it to your starship, that would have been enough. That would have been enough. They can write their way out of all of these issues, but...
Oh, yeah.
We're at a point now where this game needs an exponential increase in just the amount of writing in it for the random encounters, because... Especially as you start to learn the language, every Vy'keen you walk up to is going to say the exact same thing with the exact same options. And I'm going to go, yeah, here's the fucking Mordite to teach me a word, motherfucker. And I'm going to do
is that why I learned interloper first?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the most important word in the language.
Yeah.
Right. It's your name.
Like, I feel like those are the two words you learn first. It's interloper's the second one usually.
I got
think I got
cream
interloper
yesterday.
first.
Yeah.
It's like, why do I need
Is kind of a
cream?
bummer to
You know
me
why.
because I started like 4 new saves across 3 different platforms just to see, and it's the exact same start every time. You know, like exact same
Different
distribution of
planet,
resources.
yeah.
But like hearing you guys have everybody's going to have the exact same path through their starting planet and learn the same word and like
You have
You're
to.
complaining about the tutorial mission.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
And there's stuff that game needs to teach you. I would argue that actually the tutorial stuff doesn't maybe go far enough into showing you all the systems. And it's got like
There's a ton of systems.
there's a
that's the
guide
thing.
in there that you can dig into and start to get like, a little more information about some of the stuff.
I mean,
Like
just sort of
you
the
dig into the
glossary
guide.
of mechanics.
Yeah,
And it
that
points
thing
you
is
there
not bad.
eventually.
That thing is pretty helpful.
Yeah.
When you have to start, when you have to buy the circuit or the motherboards or the circuit boards or whatever for the first time, it's like, hey, read the how to make money thing.
Yeah.
And
so they've done some of that stuff. And I get like you want it to be mysterious, right? Like the universe should be a mystical and wondrous place, but the things they've chosen or the things that have, for whatever reason, remained a mystery or things for you to stumble on yourself, it goes beyond like a feeling of wonder and exploration and into these are core mechanics that you, especially this many years in, probably should have been better about exposing to new players.
I'll tell you what, I'm like 10, 12 hours in. I played a bunch this weekend. I still don't know how to warp. I still don't know how to like use the warp machine. I still can't use the warping. You told me like, when
You got to build subspace fuel and just go.
Yeah. And you need antimatter and you need an antimatter
No, I
container.
mean like not through like using the space station like
Like so
I can't
that's
use...
just you warp a number of systems. Once you've warped a certain number of systems, a story event triggers, and then you can use the
I've warped like 5 systems.
maybe 6. I don't know, or maybe if you need to progress on a certain thing. But like it felt like I hit a moment where it said, "Hey, a thing happened." And you need to go back to your base or whatever, and then at that point you can use the teleporters.
How do these story moments pop? Like, is there like an overall like narration?
Oh, there's a bunch of different
or
ways. Sometimes
your computer that you're talking to, or
sometimes you get like a message when you're in your spaceship or on the radio, and you hit the button to pop up the radio.
Okay.
That's
which
the
they
other
don't
thing. Is there are
explain.
certain things about the Atlas path that don't pop up until you open the galactic map. So if you haven't opened the galactic map in several hours, it'll pop up and say, "Hey, anomaly detected." You're like, "Oh."
I had one last night where I had like 3 radio messages stacked, and I hadn't answered them, and I started answering them, and then I got stuck talking to the guy.
Yeah.
And as a result, I just kept smashing into the ground over and over again.
Yeah.
Because you can't control the ship while you're talking to the guy on the radio. Apparently,
Nope.
one of the things that I really like though is the risk reward on the inventory management. So like the fact that your upgrades for your suit and your spaceship also take up inventory slots is annoying, but it also makes you really think about like, is it worth a 10% increase to my mining laser to take up what could be a stack of 250 cobalt or whatever it is I need?
Hang on a sec here. So you say you just learned about the exosuit upgrades on the station last night, right?
Yeah.
Do you know that there are separate technology slots on your exosuit?
Yeah.
Okay, all
I
right.
only have like 3 though or something. 4
Yeah,
maybe.
I've been upgrading those. So it's like you eventually, it's just like, here's 10 slots dedicated specifically to tech.
Oh, can you upgrade those?
Yeah.
At the same
At
station?
the same station. You choose which one you want to upgrade and they're different prices. The tech ones are really cheap. Yep.
No Man's Sky.
Yep.
Will's head
This
is in his hands.
This is
for
why I
people who
don't
are not
play.
watching the video.
I specifically didn't. I played like 3 hours of Monster Hunter World. I was like, "Fuck, this is too obtuse," and I think this is worse. But I like the setting. Maybe.
It's worse in different ways because I feel like with Monster Hunter, like they made a bunch of choices. This game, it feels like a mixture of like with inventory stuff. Like, yes, they made some choices, but there are other things about it where you're like, this is explained in one sentence by someone in a chat room or reading an external wiki or like the game could be better. Like another thing, Ben, that you might be running into is that sometimes your ability to continue in a mission or get the call you need to continue in a mission is sometimes dictated by whether you have that mission selected in your log or not.
Sure.
So like, depending on you kind of have to go in and choose it, and then it's like, hey, you got a call, or hey, hit the scanner to bring this thing into existence,
or like you can't turn stuff in unless you have the right mission selected. Ever,
yes,
like my overseer has 3 quests, and I have to switch the quest to the right one to hand in the bit, and then he goes through his bit, and then I switch to the next, and then he ignores me. And then I switch to the next one. And
you have to like stand there for a while and then it pops up, or, even just like steps on a quest. Like I frequently found myself having completed whatever they were asking me to complete just as they were asking me to do it.
Yeah.
So then you have to sit there for a while and stare at the guy, and then eventually it pops up, return to the overseer. It's like, yeah, because I have all that shit already. Now I can hand it in because it took 20 seconds to sit here and process that. Oh yes, you completed that step. It's good.
So 20 hours in, I still don't have any idea how to build a car.
I feel like I got plans for something resembling a garage
as part of the overseer quest line.
Yeah.
Okay, I might just not. I just did the farm, so I may not be far enough down that chain to get that yet. Like it's really like I play this game and I think about when you guys had Dave Lang on and he was talking about why Bethesda RPGs are always going to be fucked.
Right.
And this game feels.
I don't think that's quite how he phrased it, but yes.
But this game feels like this game is ambitious and there's so much stuff working. Like sometimes at cross purposes, it feels a lot like you can't pick up a million wheels of cheese and put them in a house, but you can do the equivalent of that with your actions and get in places that you can't get out of and stuff like that.
Yeah, I had a moment early on where the first time I got to a space station, I was talking to everyone there, and I met with somebody who wanted to trade me the sidearm, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And his had a bigger resale value. I didn't know how to like read and compare the stats. But his had a much bigger resale value. So I'm like, I should do this. This is a better gun.
Yeah.
Swapped it out. Didn't realize it didn't have a terrain. It had like a pulse rifle instead of a terrain modifier manipulator as the secondary objective. Didn't think it was that big of a deal until I went back to the planet and my objective was to dig up a crate using a terrain manipulator. And this was before I knew you could just go into the options and look up a recipe for it.
Yeah.
Because the game never tells you that sort of thing. And so I just was like, oh, I guess I have to leave this space station and keep going to new space stations and looking for a guy who will trade me a gun with a terrain manipulator.
Oh, no.
So I spent a lot of time just building, cells so I could warp to another system. And then eventually I found how to do it. But, if you're going to lose so many players in moments like that. You're going to lose so many people who are not willing to go to a wiki, who aren't willing to ask somebody, who don't have a network of people who can't go on Twitter and say, hey, how's this thing fixed?
Well, and the fact that it's really buggy on top of that means that like you're like, is this the way it's supposed to be, or am I just bugged and I can't finish this quest?
I think
because
the buggy nature of it leads to me not trusting anything that happens because it's that feeling of like, I'm not sure if that was supposed to happen or not.
Yeah,
and in some ways that adds to the mystery, but like not
in good ways.
Not necessarily in a good way.
They're pushing hotfixes so fast that I feel like maybe I'll play it in a month.
It's the frustrating thing is also because everyone here already owned it on PS4 and we were going to do that multiplayer video on PS4. I started there, and that is the worst platform for the game.
That
PS4?
sucks.
So, yeah,
they really
what's the
hosed the
patch status?
performance in that thing.
It's also
God,
like 2 patches behind. They really what?
Hosed the performance.
Oh yeah.
I should say it's insufferable when I'm like warping and stuff. It will just freeze.
You're on a regular PS4?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on a Pro, and it's not
like the
much
real
better.
The real bummer is like you probably didn't try this, but in one of the intervening updates, like a year ago, when they pushed Pro support, it had like a nice 1080p 60 mode in it. Like it ran super nice, and they have killed that off.
It
runs real bad.
So it runs better on an Xbox One X,
Yeah.
but even there, it's not like great. I think it runs best on PC, but even there,
I see a lot of people saying like I have a decent machine, and it's real choppy.
It'll use all the CPU you have. Like I have a hexa-core, and it hits CPU hard enough that I can't stream it to a Stream Link or something. You can only play it on the PC. Do you remember those old Raph Koster posts when he was making Ultima Online, or after Ultima Online when he was making Star Wars Galaxies? He was talking about like the 4 archetypes of MMO players, and it's like achiever, killer, socializer, and explorer. This is a game that's all about explorers, right? Like the killing is bad. You should try to avoid fighting wherever you can, because like the fight combat, it's rough still, and at least with my ship, it's not great.
I don't know. Like I still have like a fighter type ship, and the dogfight stuff in space has been fine.
Okay,
it's
not gamepad or mouse and keyboard.
Gamepad.
Yeah, see, mouse and keyboard is like
I'm sure
freelancer controls, and it's awful.
Yeah, I would never. No,
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, I switched to a gamepad to fight in space.
And then on the ground, like because I started taking on a lot of missions from the mission counter, and those are the ones that are like, hey, kill 8 animals, and I'm like, but whatever. And so I've been killing a lot of animals and gunning down a lot of sentinels, which I feel like the sentinel combat's not great because it just escalates in a way. It's like GTA Cops, where there's no winning, there's only escaping.
All you have to do is dig a hole straight down and make an L, and then they can't find you.
Except that I had one of those ground-based, the ones that guard the
quads.
The quads, yeah. I had one of those glitch out, appear underground, and was attacking me through a wall. I had that happen multiple times. Where it would pop into my tunnel and attack me, and then glitch into the wall, but still be able to attack me. Oh no! And it was just there was extreme weather up top. So I feel like No Man's Sky is a game about stories, but I feel like most of my stories are like, here's the fucked up thing that happened, and it was a horrible glitch, and it's like it's funny, and it didn't necessarily break the game for me because ultimately none of it matters. You can get out of any situation. It's a corpse run if you die to get your inventory back, which was only a hassle when I died in space by Well, I'm not going to say. I fell off of my frigate while I was trying to repair it.
Yeah, that happens.
And died in space.
I fell through my frigate while I was trying to repair it.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's what happened to me too. I definitely didn't jetpack off the side and fuck up trying to leap to the next repair point. But actually, but also the idea that like you can recruit these frigates, send them out on missions in like an Assassin's Creed Brotherhood style thing, and when they come back all fucked up, you have to crawl around the outside of them and repair them. It's actually kind of cool.
They've always been inside for me.
Oh, all of mine have been like land on this pad and then I'm running around climbing up ladders in fucking space.
Oh man, that's fucking awesome.
It's cool.
Are you space walking or are you just like got magnet boots?
It's like first contact.
It's just like ground. There's no.
You can jump higher. I feel like the jetpack. So when you're on airless planets, you get the lunar bounce.
Okay, yeah. I wish that there was way more variety in terms of gravity from planet to planet. I get with the number of prefab parts they just slap onto every world and level designs and stuff. They can't say like, oh well, if you can jump infinite height, you're gonna break everything.
That was the thing that broke the game for me when it first came out. Is that every planet is some variation on the exact same theme. Yeah. Like there's very little risk because you always are going to find some form of carbon. You're always going to find some kind of animals walking around.
And the terminals are going to have the same.
Not always.
The same.
Well, sure. Sure. Maybe not. But the vast majority of planets have plants, animals, like all the minerals. You
run into multiple of the stations that just have the biological horror creatures around them and all the goop in there. Yeah. And every time I've been in one of those and accessed the terminal, the log message the terminal spits out is exactly the same. Yeah, it's like some tale, like, and then the horrors came.
Like I get whatever. I get the counter argument that like, oh, if you landed on a completely barren planet or a planet that's nothing but lava or whatever, like it's going to be boring because there's nothing to do there. But it's still like every planet just kind of runs together when they've all got the same stuff.
And that's the thing is like none of it matters. And one I think. Having come to terms with that, there's instead that feeling of quantity of just like I'm going somewhere else. Yeah. Like, look at this. This is cool. Like, whatever. Let's go.
The sky will be a different color there.
Or I want to see like last night I found a planet. A friend of mine found a planet that was black and white. Like the world was black and white. Mike Mitchell.
I've seen some other people.
It was unbelievable. The sky was blood red.
Desaturated planets.
Yeah.
I found one that was I don't know if it was scorched, but it was like you couldn't see. The atmosphere was so smoky and hazy that the ground had this huge wash on it. And
it sounds like they actually
just flying around, just going like, I can't fucking see a thing. And it was the first time I felt like I need to land on this planet because I need to know what the fuck this looks like.
I saw a shot of a planet where the entire terrain is covered by a hex grid. So it looks like a weird cyber planet.
So that's what I was going to say is when you get into the different color stars, like at the beginning, you're locked out of like green, red, and blue stars, I think. Yeah. And when you unlock the hyperdrive upgrades that let you go to those, that's when you start seeing those bonkers planets.
Okay.
And
I guess they have added a lot of
there's
stuff there. Yeah.
There's like tier 1 biomes. They're the ones you can get to at the beginning, and then you get more bonkers biomes. And it seems like that stuff stacks. I haven't gotten up to I have green and red unlocked, but not blue yet.
I haven't built any of those upgrades.
I just got a ship that had it. I feel like this game needs a tutorial that's really, really scripted and handholdy. And they by trying to put you in like the real world, because my friend who started playing for the first time the other day had the same experience you had. Like he was really frustrated for like 3 or 4 hours, and then he kind of figured out a way to get on the treadmill and started having fun.
Yeah.
But they need to really, really onboard people better, because there's a lot. This game has a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and I still, like I said, I think the multiplayer stuff is it just doesn't feel substantial.
It was such a bummer. Like, it was having icons be glitched out, so I would follow people up to a hole in the ground that it said they were in when they were off planet. And
some of those were player markers,
so
but some of them were definitely
markers.
not.
Yeah, but
because I've had that go both ways. Even solo, I've had mission markers appear in wrong locations and weird shit like that too.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Like the refiner things disappearing when you're in multiplayer, and then coming back when you like go far enough away that it unloads and come back and it reloads.
Stuff from Jeff's base just mysteriously disappearing.
That's because you stole it. That's because you stole
What?
it.
But you steal stuff from Jeff.
Steal,
This is a friendly universe, man.
Yeah. Well, tell that to Jason first of all.
Travelers got to stick together.
The universe is cold and uncaring. I'm sorry to tell you.
That's how it feels.
That was
to
just
me.
planet. It was cold and uncaring.
Also, it seemed like as soon as we jumped into multiplayer, my starting base went from a pleasant cold world to an extreme cold world.
Yeah.
And never went back. So I had to abandon that base because I couldn't do any mining there anymore. Also, the upgrades are fucking bugged out right now. So there's an upgrade you can buy that says like, oh, it helps you in sub-zero temperatures. But I guess right now there's a bug where the sub-zero one is actually good in hot environments, and the one that says great in hot environments turns into the sub-zero one when you install it.
That's awesome. That's amazing. That's
awesome.
really.
That was a good 600 nanites I blew on that shit.
Maybe I'll check
That's
this
just
out
a
in a
trick that
month.
they're teaching the interloper. They're playing on interlopers.
And the other reason why I would say play on PC is that the PC is now 2 patches ahead of console.
Maybe more than like you can play. You can play the experimental build too if you want to get real crazy.
Yeah, you can like turn on the terrain tessellation and stuff.
So
like that.
That's been extra murder is reading the updates about shit they've fixed and then playing on PS4 where it's still going through cert and just going like, man, fuck.
Yeah,
like God.
And for what it's worth, like we had the disappearing refinery bug the very first day, and like the next time we started the game, it was fixed. So like they're working. They're clearly busting ass on it. Like it's I don't know. It's still it's kind of an incredible thing, even though it's broken and janky and weird and hard.
I need to hear more about those moments. I think, like, everything I've heard for the past like half hour or so has just been like, I want nothing to do with this.
Well,
and
I don't play. Like, I honestly, I don't think this game is for everybody. Yeah. I'm surprised I'm enjoying it as much as I am because, like I said, it's really fucking broken in a lot of like major and minor ways.
I can put up with a lot of jank. But if the moments are there,
right. And for me, it's been like those quiet, weird moments of just like, I just feel like building this base out.
Yeah.
And then like, what am I going to do? While I'm thinking about what I want to do next.
Mm-hmm.
And then that feeling of, well, I guess, I don't know. I'm going to go take on a bunch of missions and then gun down a bunch of pirates for a while.
How much of the stuff would be subverted by just going through the creative mode?
I don't think any of it would. I think it would be fine.
So the thing I saw people saying is that removes all the resource requirements, which sounds like that would remove 3/4 of the gameplay.
Yeah, if you just want to build a fun base. But then it's combat. Like, I feel like at some point with that,
what I didn't
to
earn
what?
it?
No, it's like to what end?
Right.
Like as I build the base.
Hey Jeff, why are you building a base?
Yeah.
To what end?
Because I can build a heavy refinery, and I can build the other minerals, the higher tier minerals.
Okay.
Which will let me build a cooler base.
That's the end.
Yeah.
I like.
Well, if you want to keep pulling back, you can ask that question for anything.
I was going to, but then I was like, this is going to make me sad, so I'm going to stop now.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the feeling that I get when I go into a new system and I fly around. I'm like, this huge fucking planet has rings and like 6 moons, and here's a bunch of stuff for me to explore. And like,
what kind of stuff can you find in a planet? Like, there's obviously like
it's like animals and plants,
stuff.
and like you can go find crashed spaceships. You can
buried
find
technology, weird altars,
freighters crashed.
I think the problem I run into there is like, there's that sense of wonder, and then you eventually realize that every planet has almost all of those things.
Yeah.
Well, like I feel like every planet I've been on for any length of time, any planet I've said like I'm going to be here for a little bit. There's eventually a crash freighter. There's eventually enough ruins to do your thing, and like I found I forget what it's called, a fishing lure. Like there was a whole thing. I completed a quest.
An MMO.
Yeah,
all right.
And it's not a usable item. It's like ancient artifact, like old timey. I completed a quest that said like, hey, I'm going to show you where a thing is, and it pointed me to some ruins. And when you get there, like along the way, it's like, hey, sometimes characters are going to point you to ruins where you might have to use your terrain manipulator. And you get there, and there's enough underground icons.
Oh yeah.
Each one was like ancient keys.
Yeah,
and then one of them was a chest, and I opened that up, and it was like, here's an exotic item that's like 700,000 units.
Yeah.
But I don't need the units, so instead of looking at it going like, this is my like fishing lure or whatever the fuck it is
like,
now.
It feels like I would like a way to display the cool shit that I find.
Yep.
Like Sky. You know how it's like when you play Skyrim and you have the armor dummies and you can put the armor that you're not wearing anymore that looks cool on your shelf in your room. Like I kind of want that stuff. I want it to like
stuff those crazy aliens and put them on your ship.
I was going to ask, now that you can see yourself, now that there's a third-person camera, other people can see you, like there's all the cosmetic stuff. Is that an upgrade path? Are you pursuing cosmetics? Or
no, there's no cosmetics.
You everything?
You go to a station
I've seen
equip it however
footage,
you want, and that's it.
Like it's all just there from the beginning. You just get whatever you want.
It seems like it's all of the stuff that they used to populate the alien builders, because you can play all the 3 races plus a few more.
But it's just dress up.
It's just dress up.
I'm a geek.
I wish that you deciding you were going to go out and murder a bunch of creatures and me deciding I wasn't had some sort of impact. Like I wish that people treated me differently.
Early on, they were talking about like, oh, you'll be able to eradicate all life from a planet, and that will matter. Like that won't come back. But it sounds like
I wish I could glass a planet. I was like, my base goes bad, just nuke the whole thing round.
Are there any like really really small planets?
Yes.
Or really really big planets?
Yes.
Cool. Because every planet I've seen, this just seemed like it's Earth.
I have bad news for you.
What?
You know how when you play Minecraft and you keep walking in any direction, it just keeps making more planet?
Yeah.
Yeah, the same thing happens here, whether it's big or small.
So that's the thing. Like, I just haven't had any variety. I want to land on a really tiny planet, like in Mario Galaxy 2, where I can walk around it in a minute or something.
You're not. You should play Mario Galaxy 2. It's a good game.
Or watch Dragon Ball Z Kai, where King Kai lives on a tiny planet.
That is a cool little planet with a lot of gravity. Chase around a monkey.
Yeah, there's a monkey.
Is he like rolling things up? Is he that kind of king?
No, he's just hanging out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like I bet even with all the shit that's janky about this game, I can't stop thinking about it. It's like it's got a lot of headspace right now, in that I'm like, well, I want to get my farmer in, get my farm going, and
It's
get
like,
a car,
there's
get a space car.
Like part of it is a curiosity for me in terms of like, hey, they've had multiple years to work on this post-release. It was a huge story when they put it out and the reaction to it and all that other stuff. This is them kind of emerging again and saying, hey, No Man's Sky, remember that? So I'm like, okay, let's see what you've done. And so like that's been part of the curiosity, but also I'm having a really good time with it.
Yeah.
Despite it being still pretty fucked up.
Like I just to be clear, I have my phone or a second monitor open with the subreddit, so I can type in, hey, if my mission terminal is on the spaceship but there's no mission terminal there, what do I do? And then you get to the thread on Reddit and they're like, well, you first you have to warp your freighter someplace, and then you have to trigger a save, and then when you go it'll be in the right spot again. You're like, okay. It's yeah.
You can't move base computers right now, and I have a base computer that's halfway through a floor.
You shouldn't have put your floor there, man.
It was a hilly area, and I had to put it somewhere. And then I put the start of the base at a higher elevation, and so
that'll happen.
I assume they're going to. There's a push circle to pick up base station that when you hit it, it just says object not movable. So I assume at some point they're going to make it so you can move that, just like you can move a lot of the other shit, but you can't yet.
So I had a thing where I wasn't able to pick up refiners with the gamepad, but I could with the mouse and keyboard.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's just, like it's, I don't know. It's like sometimes things are janky, or sometimes jank makes things better. and I'm kind of okay with the jank here.
Yeah.
Of course, I like the game at launch too. So what do I know? I'm a bad judge.
There were elements of the game at launch that I thought were interesting, but it wasn't enough to grab me. And I feel like now that they've added the freighter, so I feel like most of the stuff I'm enjoying is stuff they put in a year ago.
Yeah, the freighter, the base building stuff,
like all that is stuff I'm having a good time with. And the rest of it, I'm still just like, for me, the journey of wonder is part of it is that sense of just like, I can't believe that it broke in this fantastic, spectacular way. That's really weird. I can't believe I can't believe they let you accept a new freighter without warning you, hey, this is going to ditch your old freighter and everything on it.
But then at the end of the day, none of the shit that's on anything matters.
Shit I had on there mattered enough in that I wouldn't want to go back and get it all again. So I reverted my save.
Okay.
Which I was able to do because I was playing on PS4, so I had a cloud save that was like, I only lost 3 hours of progress. I guess that's okay. But on PC or Xbox, that would probably be a no-go unless I was manually backing up saves frequently or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's one area where that version of the game kind of saved my ass, but
yeah, it's such a weird thing.
It's baffling in a lot of ways. Still, like I feel like I understand a lot of the systems, and you see the gears turn. The other part about this game is like you see how they generate. You see like, every space station is going to look like this. It's going to populate with one of these 3 types of enemies. You're going to have one of these 3 conversations with every person on this station. Like, I don't know if this is the same on PC anymore, but like there are missions you will pick up there's like a bar in every space station, a little lounge area that sometimes looks like a bar or whatever. And creatures in those stations will sometimes ask you to go on a mission for them. And right now, every time it gives you a mission and every time you turn in a mission to those characters, there's just placeholder text of like DNT _war _ blah, blah, blah _ res. And that's the entirety of the "here, go on this mission" text on the PS4 version.
I saw that, and I thought it was like something that I hadn't translated yet.
Yeah, no, it is. Don't worry, it is. You'll.
So they fixed that on PC because it was on the robot guys.
Okay.
And I was like, this is weird robot language. It's unusual.
Yeah, no, it's on every you'll have the GEC will all say, instead of like the Viking all say _war. Yeah. And then there's, for the other 2 races, there's like a different designation there. A lot of cases where turning in those missions that you have to turn into an individual, the individual will have moved locations and changed races by then. So like a lot of missions I'm picking up from a GEC and then turning into a Viking, and then it's saying your reputation with the GEC has increased.
Well, so this is
just like broken.
This is one of my favorite dumb things, and I'm sure it's because of like memory limitations on the consoles, but like when you take your freighter from one system to another, you leave if you leave a GEC system, you'll have a GEC crew, and when you get to a Viking system, you'll have a Viking crew.
Yep. Yeah, the crew of the freighter changes races all the time. Like it.
But also, there's like GEC in almost all the Viking space stations, so like they clearly have those. Anyway, I don't know.
I'm not even going to speculate on why it happens. It seems like another thing on the list of stuff they could fix eventually.
But so all that said, the hook of the multiplayer for me is for me to go find some weird new shit, and for me to then say, hey, yo, Mike, Trevor, come over here, check this thing out, and like have them be able to come and actually look at it instead of just take a screenshot and show them.
Sure, yeah.
So then we all come to the same place, and everybody kind of fans out and does their shit, and they name things horrible things because that's what you do in the game.
And do you see what they're naming stuff?
Eventually,
okay,
maybe if I come back to that
never
later.
happened. Yeah, that never happened to me.
So they have to upload it.
Yeah,
which nobody like. I usually do like one upload at the end of the night and get a million nanites.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it's a fight to see who had the timestamp first. I think it's like sometimes your name sticks and sometimes it's somebody else's.
Yeah.
Huh. But like I don't know. It's like my favorite part of WoW was when you discover a new flight path and like you flew down through a valley and you flew up over this dam with some enormous dwarves on it or something like that.
Yeah.
And this hits all of those things for me, even though none of it is anywhere near as constructed as that is.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the weird thing about this game. It's really fucked up in a lot of ways. I'm having a really good time with it.
Yeah.
And
you're not really playing multiplayer, right? Just a little?
No, I'm like, people can jump in my game and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, like I'm not looking to
form a group or anything.
No, because I'm meandering and doing a lot of different stuff, and like I'm not like, oh, let's go concentrate on this. Now that I know that there's these freighter missions that you can actually share progress with, I would be interested in trying that sometime.
The rewards are pretty good
because like that. Because all my experience in multiplayer has been like, this isn't real multiplayer. This just means there happen to be 3 other humans. Also, when you say multiplayer and No Man's Sky, I think the brain jumps to some conclusions that don't include it's a 4-player game.
Yeah,
I feel like that aspect of it is supremely underwhelming.
Jeff, the UI has like 16 slots for players.
I saw people, I don't know all the details, but people are saying like the previous versions, the instances were 16 players big. I'm not sure how that translates, but
previous versions of
the game,
like in beta or something.
No, I like I said, I don't know all the ins and outs of it. But do you think this is the last named update?
No,
I assume they sold some copies here, and they're going to keep.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
it just came out on Xbox.
People are playing the game again, and like the Steam numbers spiked again. Like like
it's
whatever.
Next, not last.
Yeah.
And No Man's Sky last.
And they've had
will be the last
Pathfinder update and the Atlas. Right? They've had multiple named updates. Like even though they're saying that they're going to start working on like weekly, kind of live game style updates. Like I suspect that there's still going to be large drops of. Here's a system we bolted onto this thing. Hopefully it doesn't all shake apart like it did last time.
Well, and like they've added a ton of art. They've added like the things. Some of the things that were annoying at launch, like the fact that you'd land on a station, it would be one of 5 basic puzzles you had to solve. Like that stuff's almost all gone. I think I've done a number sequence twice.
Every sequence I've had has been the number sequence.
That's right.
Every answer has been 720. It's every single one I've seen.
It was 720 in the shipping game.
Has been that.
I distinctly remember 720
every single
from
one
launch.
I've encountered has been that.
It was I had one that was the 2112, and it was like 2112, 1122, 1221, and then it was like, what's the next number in the sequence? Like, oh god.
Yeah, every single one I've seen has been the like 1, 2, 4, 60. Every single one has been that one.
I've only seen 1 or 2 of those, I think, in the time I've played, but I haven't gone to many of those. Like you don't have to go to those bases really anymore, which is nice.
See, I thought I was gonna have to go to 1 billion of those bases because that was how I was maybe gonna get the glass recipe.
Yeah.
So that was my next step, was to just like grind out a bunch of those types of encounters. And then someone said, hey, just build this thing and you'll get glass.
Yeah, you get the glass recipe by going to Reddit and you type in, how do I get the glass recipe? And then they're like, you do these 3 things. And
I was trying not to do a ton of that.
It's much better if you do that.
Because that's how I played.
No Man's Sky. It's much better if you don't play No Man's Sky for part of it.
They succeeded at something, because this has got to be the most we've ever talked about a game this old.
It seems to have earned a little bit of goodwill. Like they've made some, some progress, I guess, but it still seems broken as fuck.
Yeah, totally. Like
that's right.
It's still as broken as I remember.
I wasn't expecting it.
And they've added levels of complexity with all the new systems and stuff that mean it can break in. It means that the game can break in like even grander fashion.
Yeah, I understand it's ambitious, and I understand it's hard to do.
Yeah, but also but it's yes, but also it's a survival game. It's a it's got mining. It's there are 1 billion games like this that maybe trade some of the scope for a little more stability and. Well, whatever.
Like,
I'm not playing any of those.
Astroneer.
I'm not playing. Astroneer I think is really good too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a game that I feel like every time I've played Astroneer, it's been this feeling of like maybe next update.
It's
maybe next time they add another round of stuff to it, it'll be the time for me. But
I'm just waiting for the final version. At this point.
Like I love the look of that game, and it is really cool. But
the thing for me with Astroneer is it's much more about exploring planets and less about exploring a universe.
Right. Yeah.
And this is the inverse. So
last time I played it, I think even getting off-world stuff was very early.
It's hard.
Very early. Just not fully implemented yet, I think.
So I played maybe 2 months ago, and like I put 10 or 12 hours into it. I couldn't get the stuff that I needed to get the spaceship into the space. So
I just had trouble figuring out I like the look of all their modular bolt this into this to do this, but last time I played it, I had forgotten how it all worked, and looking at it all, I was like, I don't know how to even build a base or a functional thing to manufacture. I couldn't even get to step 2 on that, and it didn't. There was nothing in there telling you what to do. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it another 6 months, and then we'll check out Astroneer again or something. But yeah,
Space,
cool.
Space is cool.
It's the final frontier.
It's also cool.
All right, that was a lot of talk about No Man's Sky. Jeez, we need to catch our breath. Let's take a break and come right back. Okay, on to games released in 2018. I understand that Chasm is out this week, which
2012's Chasm.
I thought that I was interested in playing, but maybe not.
What's
You
Chasm?
should be interested in playing it and checking it out. It's been like 5 years in the making, right? It
That's
started
a
off
long time.
as that Kickstarter, really good visual design. It looks like a fantastic Super Nintendo game. I remember, seeing that Kickstarter starting and going, this is something that I might actually want to back, man. It's got the really good art style. It's got, Metroidvania aspects. It wears its like a Symphony of the Night inspiration proudly, in so much that it's like got some of the same animations as well, like the same like jump arc and stuff, and he looks the same when he's jumping up, and even
It's
like
got
the horizontal slash.
Yeah, you can do the downward like diagonal slash that you could do in Symphony of the Night.
It's definitely inspired. I don't want to say that they're ripping it off or anything like that, but
also procedurally generated.
That's the big difference here. So while Symphony of the Night, it had the cool flipped map, after you beat it, and
200.6% of Castle,
carefully crafted map. This one is procedurally generated, which. Not every time that that you go down into the depths, it does it generate. It's just the one time. Like you get a world seed or something like that, and it just maps it out the first time.
Can you regenerate it?
I don't think that you
Anytime
can
you start a
regenerate
new
it.
game, it regenerates. So you can share your seed with someone else.
So
And then
potentially
if
you guys could play the same game.
Yeah.
So if you want to get the Prima strategy guide for Chasm, you type in the seed at the beginning, and then
there you go.
Type in bonus code Prima.
That's cool.
So while that does sound cool, it can lead to a little bit of I think Jeff and I both experienced situations in which there's a part of the map where it's like 6 rooms wide essentially, but like maybe 3 or 4 of those rooms are almost exactly the same. Same kind of like enemy placements and
a number of areas I found where they're not covered in enemies. It's not like a difficult sequence, but it's just like, here's a bunch of platforms you need to jump on,
platform heavy.
And they're all spaced apart at the exact length of your jump. So it just becomes about you need to hit it on the last pixel of this platform to land on the other one, and then do that a few times in a row. And then if you don't, you fall and have to do it again. It's not like a harsh penalty, but at the same time, it's just like, this is not a fun part of this game.
Super aggravating. Luckily, there's an item that you get that kind of helps with that. It's like a spiked glove that lets you do ledge grabs.
You get that relatively early on.
You do get that relatively.
I assume.
Early.
I did. Yeah,
and it does help out. Yeah, it seems like some of those items are placed where they should. They're not like completely random.
If it was just completely random, it was in a Metroidvania style game, I'm sure you would just end up in a case where it's just like, oh, you can't do anything.
Yeah, that would
because the items are behind the doors. You need the items to open or whatever. But so I'm guessing it doesn't put you in those situations.
And speaking of not being able to do anything, it's like the combat. Like it's very, very tough at first. They start you off with like a short sword. It's got a very, very short range. The next weapon you get is a dagger, which has even shorter range, but does more damage. The trouble is when you're fighting up against enemies, they kind of keep coming towards you, and they don't really have a lot of hit stun.
Yeah,
and you take damage very easily.
It's
a
lot of it's a lot of aggressive enemy behaviors that lead to an almost annoying amount of just like stick and move tactics. I'm going to stab you once and then jump away because you're a zombie and you're going to rush forward and claw, and then I'm going to come up and do it 2 more times while you're recovering to attack again.
Yeah. But there's nothing fluid about the combat.
Can you break out of animations with like a jump or a roll or something, or are you stuck in them once you fire?
No roll. So they've got the same backdash that Alucard did in Symphony of the Night. I don't think that it's invincible or anything like that, but same.
It doesn't feel
invincible. It doesn't feel.
It doesn't feel good.
No.
I don't like Chasm. Like kind of at all.
Yeah,
like,
I've been aware of it for like 2 years, and every time I would look at it, I was like, man, that looks cool. And then, I guess backers got it like a couple weeks ago, or a lot of them did, and like there's a lot of impressions out there, and they're not especially positive.
The Chasm feels like a game that like if you told me in 2012 that you were making this game, I would have been like, fucking yeah.
Yep.
And now, not only this year, but like this month,
dude,
seriously, the number of games of this ilk that are coming out,
Dead Cells and Hollow Knight are out
that are like relatively in the same ballpark.
Guacamelee 2 is almost out.
Yeah.
Rogue Legacy just got a patch.
La Mulana too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. Like the idea of a procedurally generated Castlevania or a Metroidvania game is
in theory
amazing.
Sounds great.
Yeah, but like the amount of work that went in. If you read Derek Hughes' Spelunky book, the amount of work that went into making that game not garbage is astounding. And like I don't Like the
And
complexity.
that game sounds very simple. Like Spelunky is a very like here's this one little thing. Like this sounds like a sprawling. You know,
it's
you're gonna be working.
It's got the map like these types of games have, and I feel like I have yet to encounter a single room where I've been like, oh, cool. Not to say that it looks like a jumbled mess of just like it's procedurally generating junk. It's just a bunch of featureless stuff that's just like, this is another pointless room. Like none of it has any weight.
Once you get a little bit deeper, like third level or something, aesthetically it does change.
Yeah, and then you finally get different music. And I did not like the music in that first area very much at all.
Very true. And the combat actually changed up a little bit for me because I finally found a whip. Which has 4 times the length of like a sword, and that changed things dramatically. Once I leveled up some, and enemies were only taking 2 hits as opposed to the 6. I didn't have to do that dance anymore. It felt considerably better, and I'm gonna put a little bit more time in it just to see where it goes. But as it stands right now, because everything's just kind of lifeless and haphazard. Nothing's really sticking out to me, and there's a lot of backtracking too. Like I don't like playing it that much.
I read a user review that said basically everything you guys have said, and then culminated in saying like, I beat the last boss in 10 seconds, and then there's barely an ending.
Yeah, because you get so powered up, and that's kind of what I've been experiencing right now. Is like I'm finally leveling up. I'm getting more armor and stuff, and these guys are not a challenge. And there's that brief moment of okay, cool, but now it's just kind of boring.
It's hard to imagine a scenario where even if this game, it's hard for me to imagine a scenario where I would want to play this game more than once.
Yeah.
The idea of it being randomly generated as if like, but let's get it back in and play Chasm.
Also,
again.
apparently there's no New Game Plus option or anything like that. So.
Something like that. Like it'll open up harder difficulties. But
do you feel like the map generation is like are there tile sets or is it doing
it's tile sets?
Okay, so it's
sure.
just joining tiles.
But it seems like rooms themselves are like prefabbed.
Okay.
But then those how they interconnect with one another seems kind of random.
Okay.
So while one room might be 3-4 like tiles tall, like the save point might be in a different location or something like that. But I'm trying to think of I just fought that one boss so far, and he went from absolutely impossible to like frustratingly like annoyingly easy when I had a different weapon.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. And you level up and stuff and you can go back up to town and get different gear and different spells. Basically, you can kind of equip different stuff in your 2 hands.
No, those sons of bitches. Like I find them in the goddamn tombs, and it's like you're free. Go do my bidding upstairs. When I get back upstairs, they're like, "Oh, you know what? I forgot my hammer. I can't make any."
You could go back down and find a hammer. That'd be cool. It's like, ugh.
I spent all this time looking for you.
I
tell those guys.
There, again, like I feel like in 2012, maybe this pitch would have landed a lot better. But there have been so many games have been inspired by, directly influenced by, cribbing from Symphony of the Night and those style of games that there's just not a lot of room left for games that don't hit their marks.
I'm trying to think.
Or like do something interesting with the genre.
And the procedural generation stuff, there's been another game in this genre that has tried to do procedural generation. And I don't think it really worked there either.
I'm trying to think of the one thing that this does that makes it stand out from those, and it's like the procedurally generated stuff.
Yeah, I feel like that's the one.
And like in
thing,
execution, it doesn't really land.
Yeah,
I never played Symphony of the Night.
Oh, dude!
Wow.
Should I play Symphony of the Night?
It's pretty good.
So.
I played it for the first time 4 or 5 years ago, and it was still very good.
I play through it like once every couple of years or so, just for the hell of it.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's also one of those games that's fun to like, it takes a few hours to beat, but I went through and got the whole 200.6 completion thing, and it only adds a couple hours, but it's it doesn't feel like you're just doing it for doing its sake. Like it's a rewarding experience doing everything in that game.
Keep waiting for somebody to find out that there's like another 0.2% of castle there or something. Like there's got to be something else hidden in there, but
played on PC?
It's all over the place.
Okay.
I think it's.
Did it ever come
played
to
it on
PC in a real
360.
way? Yeah, it came to 360 as an XBLA game.
I think the XBLA version is backwards compatible.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
From what I remember, that's a fine version.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
and
if you really want to be crazy, I want to say the Saturn version has the most stuff. Isn't that right?
Aren't the transparencies bad in that version or something?
Yeah, but I think they added like an extra.
It's got that audio track on it too.
Yeah.
If you put it in a CD player.
Oh yeah.
I want to say there's an extra playable character or something.
But that version also never got officially translated into English, did it?
Maybe not.
And well, whatever. There's probably something out there for you. But that XBLA version was nice because it was a case where the achievements were good at showing you, like, hey, there's more to this game than just finishing it. Like,
that's probably the version.
A good indicator of, like, hey, like, do this extra thing. And
that's easy enough. Yeah.
It'll fill in some blanks for you about the last 10 or so years of indie game development.
Well, yeah, because I played a million games that people clearly were inspired by that. And yeah. Okay.
It'll be like playing a really good one of those.
Okay. Awesome.
There you go.
Right. With really good voice acting.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I've been playing the PC version of Monster Hunter World, which is running spectacularly, except for every once in a while, the motherfuckers have been crashing on me really, really hard on specific missions when I'm using specific weapons.
Whoa.
No rhyme or reason. Apparently, Capcom is aware of this, and
it's not out for a bit.
I talked with one of the PR reps over the weekend, and I'm like, hey, listen, I got some issues with this game. Who do I talk to? And they're like, oh, contact, so and so. And like by Monday morning, I had an email, and they had a press release saying that we're aware of these crashes, and hopefully
Thank you, Jason, for fixing Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I fixed Monster Hunter.
Was it like the 20th or something?
11. I think it's sooner than that. Yeah, like next week sometime.
Yeah, something like that.
How was that Monster Hunter World? No, not World Championship.
Yeah, no. It's kind of the World Championship because anyway, I went to a tournament over the weekend. Monster Hunter World's tournament where teams of 2 get together and they make their own jerseys sometimes.
Sick. Do they craft them there on the spot?
No, I wish they would. That would be awesome.
Carve off a horn of an animal. Or now I've got the spiked plates for my shoulders.
Good news, I got like 8 pigeons from the street.
All right, here we go. Esports segment before we move on to news. All right, so you went to Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
You watched Overwatch.
Oh, God, yeah.
I spent a lot of time watching PGI.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was the esports weekend.
Do all 3 of us just go at the same time?
I was randomly looking through the TV listings and came across Disney XD, and there was the Overwatch finals. Like that's just a weird experience.
Did you catch the pre-show?
No, I actually loaded it up about 10 seconds before the winning play of the whole tournament. So I saw the very end. Nice. And that was about enough. That was about what I needed to see. But yes, I understand the pre-show was
magic.
DJ Khaled or something?
Yeah, DJ Khaled just got up there, did his thing for about as long as the actual amount of time of Overwatch that was played that day. Because they only because it was weird. It was a 3 out of 5 thing, but they played game 1 on Saturday night. And then Sunday starts, and they're like, okay, we're going to play game 2 and maybe game 3 if they come back. And then they got 3-0'd. And it was just like over.
All right, that's the end of Overwatch.
Yeah. But just do
DJ Khaled stuff
a favor and go catch the DJ Khaled performance because he is playing to a crowd that I felt a little bad for him at the beginning of it because obviously it's a stadium full of like Overwatch fans, which I don't want to cast aspersion about gamers, but it's not going to be the same as a typical let's go see DJ Khaled perform crowd.
Right.
It's not the Coachella crowd.
No one was there to see him.
No, exactly. And there were people in the crowd who seemed excited about him, that were enjoying his thing. I've never seen his performances. I wasn't familiar with DJ Khaled as a performer, which is playing a lot of songs that you like and dancing a little bit. He's tried to do the In My Head, Kiki, do you love me dance? And he said, I don't know how to do that dance. Just kidding, y'all. And then
he's more of a curator than a performer.
If you think God is the greatest, jump around. And the crowd was just sitting there, not budging.
Wow.
It was tremendous. Esports have a long way to go. Let's just say that.
I mean, they need
to. They don't know where they're going.
It's that desire to try to make it seem like a real sports thing, and like, well, what would the Super Bowl do? This is our finals. What would a sports organization do?
Get Bruno Mars, Ariana Grande, and the Ghost of Prince to perform.
Great.
He stopped the performance halfway through and said, "I just want you guys to know what a big deal it is that I'm here. I'm on tour with Beyonce and Jay-Z right now." And also, my new album just came out, and it's #1 on iTunes in 35 countries.
Whoa.
Did he mention
that
his
help?
son
Did the
at
crowd
all?
suddenly
Did
go
they-
like,
yeah.
oh, hell yeah.
Actually, there was a huge pop from the crowd, but it was weird because the camera was only pointed at him. And it was much louder than the audience had ever been at any point in the performance.
And then did, like, you just underneath all the sweetened crowd noise, did someone just like, tell me about your views on oral sex?
They did say, hey, we got a hot set from Gigi Khaled. It's going down right now as a lead in. And I have to think that was on purpose.
Oh, it's so good. Nice. The PGI thing, the PUBG thing, they did a good job with. Like, I was like, PUBG has been a hard to watch esport.
The only thing I heard about it was that they held a big tournament, and that also one of the statements given at the tournament was, we're not esports ready.
Brendan said that, I think.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, all right, that's a very honest thing to say. It's like, hey, we know we can make money on this event, but also this game's super not ready for this. Thanks for coming anyway.
Well, so I think that was about the Shroud grenade thing, but I don't know for sure. I wasn't watching that day. The thing
Shroud the player.
So it was a TPP tournament that was 2 days, a charity tournament on Friday, and then a FPP tournament that was 2 days. So third person charity, first person, and they like, if you remember the Gamescom thing last year, it became kind of a joke because the people who won that just went out and hid in the water underwater for like 10 minutes with a bunch of first aid kits and waited for the circle to kill everybody. And they fixed the rules so that like they weighted kills enough now that like people were doing bonkers shit. Like people were like driving 4 people in 4 cars and like just so that one team couldn't get wiped out.
A multi-car strategy.
Yeah, multi-car, like car strats.
Yeah.
Car strats go a long way. Like people were using DPs to blow up cars, and like it was
Dragon punch a car?
You can dragon punch a car.
Holy shit.
It goes so far, and then
God.
but yeah, like if the games were like they got a handle on the production side, so that they had like multicam views.
Yeah, they got the like spectator.
Yeah,
stuff.
okay. And like somebody was clearly watching. Like they had a director controlling multiple people watching different views, so that like they were feeding the commentators so that they would know what was going on, and like it was actually produced in a way that was accessible for somebody who plays a lot of the game, at least, and entertaining, so that we saw the good shit that was happening.
I feel like waiting kills in a way that inspires action as opposed to inaction is like that's half of it right there. Because the last time I watched it, it was just people hiding and playing a really boring game.
Yeah. So as somebody who played in the qualifiers for this tournament and got to the second round, like those qualifying rounds were go find a house, hope that the circle ends up around that house, and just fucking lay down and don't stick your head up. Yeah. And it was really boring. So like it was boring to play, much less watch. So it was well done. The commentators were good. I thought everything was.
What's the grenade thing?
So the grenade thing was Shroud, who's very good at hucking grenades at people, threw a grenade. It looked like from the perspective of the camera when during the broadcast, that it was close enough that it should have knocked a couple people that would have wiped out a team, and then he ended up getting killed by those people. And when they went back and loaded up the replay to see where the grenade actually landed, then you were able to see that it was just outside of the kill range.
Okay.
And he overthrew it just a tiny bit. But I think that's what people were talking about when they said it wasn't esports ready, when in fact it was just a bad camera angle. You know, it's like when you can't tell if the guy slides into home plate and he's out or safe because
they did
decision
replay
like
on
a
it?
call.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So they replayed on the stream, but they didn't have they can't replay in engine and change the camera angle and stuff or whatever.
Huh.
But yeah.
And Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter what was pretty crazy because it's teams of 2. This is something that's been going on in Japan for a while. This is the first time that I've seen it done in the U.S. in this like official capacity. Like the winners of this tournament are going to get shipped out to Japan to compete for America.
It's like a time trial type thing?
So it's like the first arena quest where you fight like a puke. So teams of 2, the fastest time takes it. So you got your, you've got a set loadout of weapons that you can use. A lot of people were using lances, so quite a few switch axes and stuff. There's not much to say about the actual gameplay itself because it's just like they just go in there and they hack the shit out of it.
I was hoping somebody saved up some like innovative pocket strats or something to bring with them. But
not that I could tell anyway. Yeah, I mean you could tell who the really good players were because they were lightning, just like frame perfect dodges and stuff, and that stuff's kind of exciting to watch. I don't know if it's going to be much of a spectator sport unless you're a big Monster Hunter fan.
It's always cool seeing a game you love pushed to its absolute limits.
Yeah, it was exciting for me. So that was fun, and it was really cool seeing people come out with their From their homemade jerseys to
nice.
full on eSports jerseys with like Monster Hunter logos on it and stuff.
Cool.
And and the winners got like this really cool watch, and then they got the trip to Japan. So.
Does it have like skulls or anything on it? Or
No, it's like this really intricately carved, there's all kinds of gears and mechanisms on the inside. Okay. It's kind of see-through. It's classy as hell.
How much of this do you think is money that was originally earmarked for Marvel tournaments or like more Street Fighter stuff? And they were just like, oh, I guess we can do Monster Hunter in the U.S. now. We've got the money.
They've just got all the Monster Hunter stickers placed over the Marvel.
Right. Yeah.
logos,
Just put that over here. Uncanny
Marvel Hunter.
Monster versus
Uncanny
Hunter.
Monster. Yeah.
Because there wasn't a ton of fanfare like when World marketing stuff and like merchandise. Yeah. There wasn't a ton of it for Monster Hunter World, but seeing as it is their biggest selling game ever now, they're probably going to be putting some money.
What was the crowd like? Was it full?
Yeah, it was a small event hall actually, but it was packed. Standing room only for that, and they had other things. They had like challenge quests for spectators to do. I actually did that. Me and my buddy took on a Bareth as Ryu. We did really well.
Nice.
Photo ops and cosplay contests and
That's
shit
cool.
like that. So.
People start cheering and stuff on like good runs and stuff. People. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, like everybody there, it was really nice being around like-minded folk. It was super easy to just start a conversation with somebody because you know what, they're Monster Hunter fans.
Hey,
as
you
well.
like Monster Hunter?
Yeah, man. Cool.
And then the response is like, wait, what? Monster? Yeah. No.
I'm here for the Street Fighter.
I'm here for DJ Khaled.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time, and I'm gonna check out the Japanese version of this just to see how crazy that shit goes.
See how Team America does.
Yeah, and their homemade jerseys.
Look, man, maker culture is alive everywhere.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, don't
I'm not knocking it. I'm
knock their
really
jerseys,
happy
man.
with them.
Okay.
I was actually rooting for them. Yeah, from the get go.
Can we make God hand jerseys?
Yeah, we should.
All right,
we should.
You gotta.
Thank you.
God hand jersey.
It's a fun game too. We should play that.
We are.
Oh yeah.
You've got to.
We've got to.
All right. News. Let's talk about it. Such as it is. Nintendo put out a bunch of sales data. I don't know if you guys saw this, which is not something they usually do, I don't think.
It must be going really well for them, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, it's very specific.
And they've got legacy data too for like
that's
all
part
platforms.
That's part of what I mean.
Yeah.
They literally put out a big infographic that's just, here's how many units every system we've ever made have sold life to date.
Really?
Which is kind of crazy.
DS, very popular.
Yeah, like actually...
not as popular as the DS.
Sure, but I'm sure
it's up there.
The DS has sold over 10 times more units than the Wii U.
Well, that's not...
yeah.
So 80?
I've sold more
85?
units than a Wii U.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad they didn't rank this. They just sort of put it in chronological order.
You
so I'm
look,
eyeballing it. But yeah, the DS is actually by far their highest selling
DS
system.
is what is
really?
it? And the DS is closest to, they have the software sales too. It's like almost $1 billion.
Yeah, almost
Does that count every iteration of the DS?
Yeah.
From
the
DS?
Like it's like a graphic, so it's not very specific, but it's
not
got
3DS.
Okay.
Yeah, 3DS is.
So I mean, I own 3 or
million.
4 of those, so that's no surprise.
Yeah,
there are like 3 to 4 versions of the DS.
So yeah, my first reaction upon looking at the numbers was like, well, everyone bought multiple DSs, so that's not that
impressive.
A
little skewed.
But when you look at the software number being higher than all the other systems, also like by a lot, where they're like 980 million,
948.
Okay,
million.
Like. That's higher than all their other systems too. So you're like, oh, the DS was a fucking monster for a lot of years.
Yeah,
or they were at it for a long time, I guess.
I mean, they both probably.
Yeah.
I think it's telling. It's telling that the second highest system is the Game Boy, which also was around for like 10 years.
Well,
and had 4 different versions.
There's something to be said about the price point of those games too, because like DS games were $30 ish usually,
something like that.
Like most of the time. Sometimes they were cheaper, sometimes they were a little bit more. But like, I'm much more likely to I took a chance on a lot of weird DS games because they were $30 instead of 60.
Yeah,
or 50, whatever.
An interesting fact is that the Wii sold fewer units than the Game Boy, but almost twice as much software.
Look, all those copies of Carnival games didn't move off shelves on their own.
The Wii also
coming to Switch this November.
Really?
Yeah,
that's exciting.
I know.
Do I need to dig up my Wiimotes?
I have no fucking idea.
How are you going to do that?
I don't know.
The Joy-Cons.
The Joy-Con.
Right. But I can't aim at the TV with. How am I going to do a shooting gallery with the Joy-Con?
One of them does have a.
Oh yeah,
little IR sensor on there.
Yeah.
Put a candle there.
So what are the bottom performing consoles?
hang on.
GameCube.
Well,
Wii
U obviously is.
GameCube.
Yeah. So Wii U at 13.5 million is the lowest.
That's better than I would have expected. I thought it was like 8.
A lot of people wanted Zelda.
Yeah.
No. The other thing is they have software totals for all these things, and people just want to play Mario Kart. It's like in the top 3 of all time for every platform it was released on. It seems like it's damn near the top.
Yeah, I didn't.
That makes sense.
I only.
It's the best-selling Wii U game. I think,
Mario Kart 7
overall.
Single-handedly kept the GameSpot service alive for like years after it would have, because that was like
the GameSpot. Yes,
Mario Kart 8 is by far the highest-selling Wii U game,
and it's also like up there on Switch. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah.
Wow. Like people are buying Mario Kart like a motherfucker, and have been forever.
Yeah, that's
apparently.
always the Wii U. Where's the Wii U or the Wii list? Hang on.
I mean, Mario Kart 8 was probably the best game on that system. Until I didn't play Breath of the Wild on Wii U, but like,
you should check out Super Mario Maker, a game. Maybe it only sold 4 million units.
Fair,
but it's 4 billion units in my heart.
I play Super Mario Maker with my kid.
Yeah,
it's good.
The Wii U had like 6 really good games, and then just everything else is completely forgettable.
Yeah.
And
the third-party
like
support
Bayonetta 2
never materialized.
That farm game.
Yeah,
that game's really good.
Funky Farm.
Funky Farm. Yeah, Funky Barn.
Funky Barn.
All right. So again, this is not in order. I'm having to look around. Wii U was the lowest at 13.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Second lowest appears to be GameCube.
Where's the Virtual Boy in all
21.
this?
They don't even put it on
listed.
there. Yeah.
So I think we can assume that that's below the Wii U, probably, right?
Not listed.
Yeah, I guess so.
Almost 22 million for the GameCube. Roughly 33 million for the N64. What else we have here?
Did they consider N64 a failure at the time?
Well, I'll put it this way. The NES/Famicom, 62 million.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Super NES, 50 million.
Yeah, okay.
Nintendo 64, 33 million. So, yes.
Yeah, it was a failure.
You can envision the trend line.
I think when you start to add up the material costs of producing cartridges and a lot of other stuff, like at the time, I think that probably bit into
also,
but it also did huge things for like software innovation for them. You know, like bringing Mario into 3D successfully was huge.
Hugely successful creatively.
Analog stick.
Yeah. But
the first Animal Crossing was an N64 game.
The first Smash was
the graph of hardware sales from the NES right up until the Wii is just like this. Like every system sold way fewer than the last one right up until they made the Wii. So
a downward slash for those at home.
So not a great trajectory.
What about software?
Switch has already handily outsold the Wii U. They're approaching 20 million units on that thing in like a year and change.
It's a damn good system.
Let's see. All right, here's the Switch top 10. Is this 10 games? Yes.
Can we guess?
Yes.
Breath of the Wild, Mario, Odyssey.
No, Mario Kart.
Mario Kart, Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, and then a bunch of other shit.
I would have also guessed Mario Kart for sure.
Mario.
It's surprisingly Mario Odyssey is the number one game, despite being one of the newer.
It's a fucking good game.
Yeah.
It is,
but it's newer, but also everyone who bought a Switch at launch was like, "Oh shit, a Mario game."
Sure. Well, and also everybody that bought a Switch at Christmas was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm getting a Switch and Mario."
Right.
But you can look at some of these other consoles, like the Mario game is never the top game on these other systems.
And I bet by the time we're all said and done with the Switch,
probably the same.
Odyssey's not going to.
In fact, fucking Mario Kart 8 Deluxe almost edged it out. It's like right behind at number 2.
Yeah.
For an old game with a few extras.
Is Smash the number 1 on Wii U?
No.
No, Mario Kart.
Mario Kart
is close, yeah.
Smash is like top 10, but it's not like number 2 or 3, I don't think.
Smash is number 4 on the Wii U.
What's number 2 on Wii U?
Number 2 on Wii U is Mario 3D World.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Deservedly so.
Mario. Yeah, that's a good game.
New Super Mario Brothers U is number 3 somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the launch game.
Oh, Nintendo Land is on that list.
Nintendo Land is number 6.
But that's because they packed it in with 8 million of the units.
Is every Smash? I mean, I can look at these, but is every Smash in the top 10?
Let's see. On the Wii,
I know those
any
are very
Smash
popular.
in the top 10?
Smash is
just said,
like you say, very popular, but it's like it's still half of the top seller on some of these cases. Where like, hey, this one did 11 million, but like Smash did 4 or 5.
Right.
Like that's still a huge number of units, but compared to the big Nintendo games, it doesn't seem like it's always up there.
But it's like a weird, if you look at it in a vacuum, it's this weird like half fighting game, half party game. And I'm just curious about like the buying power behind
either of
just
those.
It's a video game with all your favorite guys in it.
Yeah.
I
don't know that that's necessarily the draw. I mean, or that probably gives it a boost, but people who know what Smash Brothers is are either in or out already.
Yeah, if you're not into that kind of madcap, weird, bouncy fighter
So it's a matter of like how many new players are there coming in that have an affinity for these characters but have never played Smash before.
Yeah.
That's probably not a huge number.
But like, so my kid likes playing Mario Kart and Smash because she can be Princess Peach or she can be Toad or she can be Mario or whoever, and she doesn't give a shit that it's a fighter or a racing game or whatever. She just wants to be the character that she likes.
Yeah. And I remember
that makes sense.
the original Smash, that was the number one appeal. I remember exactly where I was when I saw the very first commercial for Smash 64.
It was really good.
It was the like what's that song called? It's the Imagine you and me and you, and they all start fighting.
Yeah.
They're in like the
So happy.
I just remember being like, oh my god, it's finally a game with all my favorite Marios in it, and I'm just wondering, if
Based
that's
Mario, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Mario.
that's right, fused Mario.
Yeah, Mario with the earrings
Mega
is
Mario?
different than
What's the bestseller across all platforms?
I'd have
It's got to be like
I'd have to like tab
Wii
through.
Sports?
Oh,
Sports
I
is
guess
like 80 million.
Oh well,
Probably-
yeah,
probably
that's a
the case.
bundle.
80 million.
Yeah, I don't know that.
It's on their list. I mean,
It
if
is.
we're going by what's on their list, that's
I was thinking
gotta be
what-
number one.
Not counting pack-ins, Mario Kart Wii at 37
So the
million.
most popular
Okay.
character is Woohoo Island.
Yep,
Well,
always was, always will be.
Wii Sports Resort also did gangbusters.
They packed that in with the Motion Plus, right?
Yeah.
What's the best DS game?
DS.
Mario
Mario
Kart
Kart.
7.
Mario Kart. Well, after Mario Kart,
Trying
then
to find DS here.
is it like Animal Crossing or
New Super Mario Brothers.
Oh yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
30
Oh,
million. Nintendogs is second.
Yeah, that was a huge deal.
Oh, Nintendo exists.
Mm.
Wow.
Mario Kart and DS right after
Okay.
Nintendogs.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then Brain Age.
Yeah, I was gonna say Brain Age
Ooh.
has got to be in top 5.
And
Yeah,
then-
I own 2 copies of Brain Age because Gina and I played at the same time.
Awesome.
You don't have to cover Will. It's okay.
Look, man, I was just getting twice as smart by playing double team, double
way to
console.
go.
All right, here's the Switch list because that's the system that matters. Mario Odyssey, then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, then Zelda at number 3. Splatoon 2.
Arms.
1-2 Switch.
No arms.
Oh,
Launch game,
1-2 Switch,
Yeah.
really?
like launch day game.
guess.
You're gonna.
What else are you gonna buy?
Also, this is physical only.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
oh.
they say at the bottom that this is only physical units.
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
No, on the Switch, the software units include the downloadable versions.
Oh, okay, all right.
On
For some of
Switch.
the other, I think I want to say for Wii, they said it was
Yeah,
retail only.
They
Then
probably
okay.
weren't tracking those
One,
stats.
so
there.
1-2 Switch?
Yeah,
Really?
is
Okay.
number.
There aren't that
1, 2,
many
3, 4, 5. That's
first
the-
party games on the
that's the
system.
number 5
At-
game.
especially at launch.
Is
If you
1-2
were
Switch.
looking for games to buy,
I know, but it was
You
full
bought one?
price. Then it was like, I thought word got out there that it was just a mini game.
me go ahead and tell you,
still surprised.
Most of the people who buy video games don't listen to,
Yeah, I know.
they're not informed consumers.
man. We did all we could.
Maybe they really wanted to milk.
maybe they really
That's
needed
true.
a tech demo for the thing they bought, and
Yeah,
it
to
serves
justify
that.
it.
You know, like
Just
it's
wanted to test out that
See
HD
how
it's
rumble.
many-
not
this is
bad.
fun.
It's,
And if you want to play the games with your little kid, then Breath of
Yeah.
the Wild's out, and that game works.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Then ARMS, then Kirby Star Allies, then Xenoblade
Wow.
Chronicles 2,
Oh,
then
That's
Donkey
it.
Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and then Mario Tennis. Which just came out.
Xenoblade is not considered like first party, is it? No,
Yeah, it
because
is.
it was.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's published.
what's the
by
drop off
Nintendo.
from first to 10th?
Let's see. Mario Odyssey has done over 11 million.
So
Mario-
it's a 1 to 1 to 10. Oh no,
Mario
yeah.
Tennis has done 1.38. But again, that came out a month ago.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty good for a month-old game.
Yeah.
On a small platform.
Not bad.
I wonder how much further Mario Tennis will go because it seems like word of mouth on the game just
Mm-hmm.
evaporated,
It's hard.
like ARMS-esque. In its hey,
Yeah.
this seems exciting. Oh wait, it's not.
I feel like I need to actually play it before people stop playing it.
I'll play with you sometime.
Okay, let's play.
Yeah.
That
Before,
sounds fun.
before I have to pay for the service.
Yeah, let's
Gotta
get, our,
get in there.
Let's get our fill.
We got a
Can
month.
you do like private matches? Can you?
Yeah,
I'm
Let's
sure.
download that
Probably.
phone
maybe
app
get the app,
and
and
set up a
We
voice
can just
chat.
do Discord.
Yeah,
Just use Discord.
yeah.
that's also a phone app.
But it's my phone app, not their phone app.
And you also don't have to leave it open while you use it.
You know they
Oh,
fixed
yeah.
that.
Did they?
Yeah.
Good on them.
Thanks, guys.
Speaking of Nintendo, they announced a third Labo kit.
Ooh.
What is the official name? The Nintendo Labo Vehicle Kit is the actual
Rad.
name
Oh,
of this
cool.
thing. It looks all right.
Yeah.
What do you do?
It's it looks like it's mainly a steering wheel. There's a pedal,
Okay.
a foot pedal.
Okay.
The steering wheel thing has got like a ripcord on it and some buttons.
Cool.
And then you insert a module to make your vehicle transform.
Wait,
Does it
Roll
go?
out.
From car to plane to submarine.
That sounds dope.
It's like Diddy Kong Racing.
That sounds dope.
You mean
yeah?
You mean the crew too?
Did you do
no,
Labo with the kiddo?
No, he's not of age yet. I don't think. No,
he's 3, 4.
He's almost 3, and he's still in very much the destroying stage.
Yeah, my daughter really likes like the games, but she was good for maybe 20 minutes of the building.
Yeah.
I feel like we're waiting for like about 20 minutes of the building.
I've known you for a long time.
I still managed to get through it, but
we figure once he's of age, like there might be some
talking about Jeff, right?
discounts. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. The fishing pole in the house were real popular.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, the house she picks up and it still plays with, and I don't think she's unlocked everything yet. Like, yeah.
I'm glad they're doing more with this. I don't know that I have the fervor or the interest in it that I did before any of it came out. Like now that we've seen a fair amount of it and been like, "Hey, this is really cool," but I don't think it's for you. I don't think it's for us. Totally.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they're doing more.
The game portion of this looks kind of cool.
Yeah. I'm so confused by the submarine bit. Like cardboard does not work well in the bathtub. Let me tell you.
This is special. This is reinforced. Don't worry.
Reinforced.
Nintendo has
it's got a shellac on it.
The game part looks kind of cool. Yeah. It looks like there's a lot of stuff you can do.
I wonder if this is something, I presumably this is something that was in development even before the first 2 kits came out. So I wonder if this stuff is done well enough for them to say like, hey, we are going to start new development on more Labo stuff, or if they're just going to finish up and be like, that's all right, we got our 3 kits out of it, we're good. 4 kits, whatever.
I heard that they've been developing this stuff since the Wii. Like this was originally like a motion controller situation. And yeah.
So they're into the idea, but I wonder now that they have sales data to go with the cool idea, because it's an awesome fucking idea. But I wonder on the other end of it if they're like, oh, we're going to keep doing this, or if they're like, yep. Our idea that we've been sitting on for 10 years, we tried it, it worked okay.
I hope the games have more meat next time, or at least more kind of like the robot stomping kit we played with literally one time.
Yeah,
maybe twice.
Yeah. I found myself wondering if they would ever, because initially it was like, oh, are they going to integrate Labo stuff into, like, hey, here's an additional kit, like a Mario Odyssey Labo add-on that's just, here's the cardboard that you can use to make a thing that does this thing in Odyssey.
That would be dope.
Yeah, like if they ever would do like add-on kits for their existing software. That seems like a natural path to go, especially if it's like, oh, Mario Kart, because Mario Kart can work with the steering wheel.
Really? From the Excitebike steering wheel?
From the first kit, the variety kit, like the car stuff.
The motorcycle handle.
Yeah, that's what it was. The motorcycle. Yeah, you can play Mario Kart with that.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
I believe it's. I feel like
that's correct. Yeah,
I feel like that. Yeah. So I wonder if they would ever do more stuff like that. Just like, hey, we're updating our existing games to support stuff that we already sold for Labo, or the alternative of here's just some cardboard you can buy / print out, whatever, cut out, whatever, that will do a thing if you build it in Mario Tennis,
or like give you a plunger that lets you plug in like make Mario come out in your Labo house or whatever. Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. Or go the other way with it.
Yeah. I mean, this thing is
synergy,
a full-on sit-down wheel.
Yeah, like once they've done that, like
it's a racing wheel.
Can you clamp it on like on your table?
That's how it's shown in the footage.
Can I build a cardboard IndyCar chair, like a full sled?
Probably.
Does that mean I can use it for like Wreckfest or something? That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Don't build a
I don't know how durable cardboard is. It's
probably fine.
Smashed up pretty
fast.
I
can just build another one if it's cardboard. It's no big deal.
Just order another pizza, build another thing.
Yep. Let's see. Richard Marks.
Yeah, see right here.
Yes.
See right here waiting.
Just go ahead, get him out.
Yep.
Everybody.
That's the only one I remember.
Anybody got anything else?
No, I don't understand the reference.
The Move controller.
He believes in socialism and the power of the workers over
different. No.
Wrong.
What?
Wrong person.
Okay.
Wrong.
Sorry,
marks.
my bad.
80s music. Anybody? No.
Yeah. Right here waiting.
I did right here waiting for you.
Okay. He has departed Sony to go work at Google on their console initiative.
I'm glad he's found work after.
This is the Richard Marks that made iToy.
Yeah, he made PlayStation. Well, not him solely, obviously, but he was kind of like one of the heads of their Sony's sort of like experimental technology. I mean, he is the sort of the head of the PlayStation VR design team.
Okay. They had that augmented reality card game for that thing, right?
Yeah, that was Eye of Judgment.
Yeah,
but that worked with the Eye, I think, right?
Okay.
Yep.
But he ran the group that made the Eye, the PlayStation Move, the VR, all that stuff. Like he is a smart dude. I've met him and talked to him before. He's super nice and really knows his stuff from an engineering standpoint.
Yeah, we talked. He
worked on all those like.
Okay, we did PSVR.
Wouldn't it be cool if like products, right?
What's that?
He worked on all those like. Wouldn't it be cool
if?
Right.
Basically, yes. So yeah, he is now out of Sony and is at Google working in their. I mean, it's called the ATAP team, Advanced Technology and Projects.
So that's Daydream and their Vive Software division.
Probably that sounds
Phil
right.
Harrison.
Yeah, Phil Harrison is there.
So
also formerly of Sony.
Yeah.
Huh.
And they're also said to be the team that's working on that Yeti gaming hardware stream solution thing or whatever.
The Ouya with support.
Sure, something like that.
Do you hear anything around the Valley? About that stuff?
The only thing I know is that they announced publicly that Chrome is coming to Daydream. So, like that means that there's actually that what is it, WebXR?
Right.
Which is a Mozilla initiative, I think originally is basically like VR. It's basically like your HTTP for virtual reality in a browser.
VRML, but
VRML,
real.
Yeah, VRML, but good.
Yeah, but actual VR, not.
And you can. I don't know if it works yet it doesn't work with the version of Unity we use, but theoretically you should be able to take a Unity VR project that runs on Vive and Oculus and all that stuff and have another pipe out that makes it a WebXR.
That just becomes like rapid distribution because it's like loading up a web page, right?
Yeah, and theoretically you should be able to have hyperlinks to take you from one to another and all that. Like, it's the metaverse, man.
What is a VR hyperlink going to look like?
You just you reach out and you eat the burrito.
Headbutt it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a burrito. You grab it.
That's still got a line under it though.
I don't know. Maybe it's purple, and then when you click on it, it turns like a kind of like
it disappears.
Magenta.
What?
It like
yeah, it's voxels. I don't know like that. So I'm joking, but that stuff's cool because it means that like right now, if you want to make a VR game and put it on itch.io or something, it's a real pain in the ass because you have to load this whatever your headset store front is and all that, and then this stuff serves as, I guess it's probably another abstraction layer on top of the Steam VR, the Oculus Home.
Stuff can get real bad sometimes.
Yeah, because
say you're using the Windows mixed reality headset, which runs with Steam games, but you have to go into the mixed reality home.
Yo, dog, I heard you like front ends.
Load up the Steam thing on the desktop display in the home and then launch it out of Steam in the VR environment. It's so weird.
Using a Rift in Steam, you sometimes end up with that situation too, where like as soon as you put the Rift headset on, it has to launch the Rift software,
it's the exact
and
same
then it
thing.
starts to bring you into the Rift environment, and then maybe the Steam environment pops over the top of it. And you're like,
It's so weird. That stuff is
a
a mess.
janky thing.
It's the kind of thing that in the old days you would hope that at some point Microsoft would be like, we're doing this is your VR loading thing, and here's the API levels that everybody ties in.
Here's direct VR. But everybody make it with the same thing.
But also none of the manufacturers are going to support that now because they know how that ends for them. Yeah. So
with zero control on their part.
Yeah, exactly. And not getting 30% of all the revenue of all the software made on the platforms that they invested billions in.
Yeah.
Don't worry, when Magic Leap comes out, all the AR shift, it's all going to be totally different.
I remain very interested in what AR is going to be.
Me too.
And I don't think that any of the people doing stuff like the hard problem isn't the display. The hard problem is mapping the world and figuring out where you can put stuff.
Do you have the one?
No.
Have you messed with it?
I can't.
Okay. Moving on. Do you think this Google thing is going to be anything more than like the Google storefront to buy the same PC games you could be streaming from 3 other services? Like, do they make their own walled garden of games you can only play on Google's thing?
I would assume. I mean, I assume that they make a lot of money selling games on Android right now.
Right.
But
that's what I mean, because games on Android can also be played elsewhere.
Yeah,
there are very few exclusive games.
At some point you're asking, is Google going to start its own development division and just make games?
Well, that's what I mean. Is it going to be a console?
Or is it going to do deals to bring games in exclusively?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, is it going to be a platform the way that you think of PlayStation as an enclosed platform, or is it just going to be another delivery mechanism for the same games you could be?
It's going to be a platform the way you think of the Apple TV as a platform.
Right.
Would be my guess. But probably with a better controller. Or maybe that first-party controller.
Probably would be hard to make a worse controller, from what I hear.
Well, you can do MFi like SteelSeries makes a good MFi controller for the Apple TV, but like it's $80 and
there's not that much to do with it, right?
I mean there are a bunch of like platformers, like all the stuff.
Yeah.
But Apple doesn't support them well, so why would you? And with the Sony folks at Google, I would expect to see something crazy. The people they have there, I expect to see something crazy and then something standard. So like, a motion control plus normal gamepad.
That would make sense.
Yeah. And they had, you'll be able to play Doom 2016 on that thing or whatever.
Okay, sure.
Hey, not to just like go full VR derail here, but what do you make of the number of games over the last like 6 months or so that have been making big deals about like, hey, we added a mode for those of you who don't own a VR headset? Like Rec Room just joined that list relatively recently. Valkyrie did it a while back.
We did it.
Yeah.
I mean, not that anybody cares. I think given the look, if you have a subset of an audience that has VR headsets, and it's it's not 10 million people yet probably, but it's 4 or 5 across all the platforms, and you're looking at, okay, I could port my Vive or Oculus game. I mean, like porting between Vive and Oculus is pretty straightforward and relatively like it's a person or two working on it for maybe a month, right?
Yeah.
Porting between Vive and Oculus and PlayStation is going to cost you a fairly significant amount of money, whether you do it in-house or whether you pay somebody to do it, and then all the cert costs and stuff that comes with that. Like if you're looking at that, spending that money there, or spending that money building a 2D client that you can put out to everybody who has Steam,
a much larger number of people.
It's a real easy decision to do that. I mean, that's why we did it. It's because like if you have like a game like Budget Cuts won't work it would be a completely different experience as a 2D thing. But a game like Bridge Commander, you can totally play with a mouse and keyboard.
Totally. I think the thing I ended up thinking about a lot with Rec Room was like, hey, the whole cool thing about Rec Room is that everyone's in VR, and the social aspects of that, of waving and the gameplay of ducking to hide and shooting and stuff,
like doing the quest stuff.
Yeah. If you dropped someone in there that was just playing it like a standard first-person shooter with mouse and keyboard, and I haven't tried it yet, I'm not in whatever beta or whatever. I don't know if they've rolled it out wide or not. It seems like that fundamentally it becomes that situation that you had on the Dreamcast, Quake 3, of like people playing with a Dreamcast controller versus mouse and keyboard. And one side's going to get stomped. I don't know which side.
I'm not sure which is better.
Yeah, but
have you done the quests? Have you done some of the quests?
I tried it once and never. I just didn't have a group together.
We got to get 4 people and do that sometime, because it still is the most it's the most VR native VR game I've played.
Yeah.
Like it's multiplayer. The rest of them feel like short shooters ported over.
Right.
And like the ability to kind of like kneel down on the floor so that like somebody can shoot over your head is bonkers.
Yeah. And so like stuff like that, or even just, playing paintball in Rec Room and kind of knowing what that's like. I feel like the minute you take that thing out of VR, you're like, there's a billion of these shooters I'd rather be playing. If we're going to play with a mouse and keyboard, like why would anyone do this?
Why would I play Onward instead of Arma?
Right.
Yeah.
It's just it was a bizarre shift for some of these like competitive multiplayer games that I didn't necessarily see coming.
So my guess is that the cost of doing that is basically nothing.
Yeah.
And that if you can sell another 20,000 units, then that pays for a couple months payroll, right?
But I guess like the thing I'd add on to that is, do you take that as a sign that VR is having real trouble? Because these studios that were maybe founded on the idea of just like, we're going to get into VR, it's going to be awesome, we're going to take all this money on, are now like, oh shit, we got to find audience, and we're not finding it here because it's not growing fast enough.
I'm really glad that I have 3 full-time employees. If I had 20 full-time employees, I don't know how you like. If you ramped up a studio to make a $4 million game in VR, you either have laid a lot of people off or you're going to close your doors. Because like you can't spend 3 years making a $4 million game unless somebody's subsidizing that,
right?
And that's just this. I mean, if you looked at the size of the market and you looked at how many headsets they were going to be able to make and then sell,
right?
Like you knew that, and you knew that either you were going to start taking money from one of the big guys, or you were going to make small games and figure out how to like cockroach down and survive long enough for there to be a market there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
that all makes sense. Yeah.
You're building games for a small market.
Right.
It's not a small market. Steam.
It's a big market.
Yeah.
Big old marketplace.
Okay. It finally happened.
Some say too big.
Yeah. All right. I feel like the thing that we joke about practically every week has finally got a name. It's cryptojacking.
Oh, man.
Wait, what did you see?
Yeah. I don't know if I can say it.
Did I leave my camera?
I don't know if I can repeat that here.
I have the little thing that flips down over the webcam just so we're safe.
Smart. I did that in my life.
Did you hear about this game, Abstractism, that has now been pulled from Steam? That was accused of surreptitiously mining crypto on people's computers while they were playing it?
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you pretty simple platformer? It
was a very, very simple, boxy-looking platformer that
was the fans spin up.
Yeah,
weird,
using a whole lot of CPU and GPU power.
Why
apparently,
is this single-player game sending a lot of stuff out over the network?
Yeah. Also, a massive amount of network activity coming out of this thing.
Wow, who knew?
Let's see. The developer posted in response to a negative review: Abstractism does not mine any of cryptocurrency. Probably you are playing on high graphics settings because they take a bit of CPU and GPU power.
Just a bit.
Required for post-processing effects rendering.
Was it free?
It was not free. No.
Wow, that's really ballsy.
Yeah. That's not even the half of it. They're also they subverted the trading card system, or not the trading card, but something about the item economy to also drop a fake counterfeit TF2 item out of this game.
How
that was selling on the store for $100?
It was like $100. It was going because I guess the real one is worth a lot. So yeah, people like at least a handful of people bought this thing thinking it was the real TF2 item.
So it looks like a TF2 hat or something.
It has the same name. So
yeah,
maybe
same graphic,
same
graphic and name. But this article doesn't say exactly what the item was.
Oops.
So yeah, this says
fucking smart.
Spoofed the real item's picture and name, but didn't actually give players anything in game.
Damn.
Like this guy is a scumbag, but that's a pretty good scam.
Well, they got found out and taken down.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure.
Hopefully it was good one last. No, I don't know.
Apparently there was a game called Climber recently that was doing the exact same thing with Dota items. So that's where they got that idea. But
how dare you?
But the crypto
ruin the sanctity of Dota items.
But the cryptojacking is all new from the sound of it.
Cryptojacking.
This is a weird. Like this is the dystopia we deserve.
Yep.
Well, I mean they kind of did it to themselves, right? Like
Steam,
Valve opened the floodgates a few months ago, and this is the obvious. Like, who didn't see this coming?
Like this, and half of the top 10 is always H games.
When they basically just said, "Hey, anybody?"
What are H games?
The horny titty ladies.
Oh yeah,
that's what the H stands for.
horny games.
Horny games.
Okay.
Yeah. When they said, "Hey, anybody can publish a game on Steam for like $100 or something," like, what did you expect?
We've been joking about this for a while, but no, it's totally happening. Wow. Okay.
Hey guys, good news. There's this thing called Origin out there. It's like there's like 8 new releases a week.
Very easy to curate.
You get in there, you know exactly what you should be getting. It's always Battlefront 2 stuff. Just only buy Battlefront 2 packs,
and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like Valve needs to be doing a better job screening its service.
Mm-hmm.
Like clearly.
Or a job.
Yeah, sure. They open the floodgates and then we're like, hey, it's not our place to determine. And it's like, no, the fuck it's not. Like, here's another aspect of your service spinning apart.
So on one hand, you have like the old Xbox 360 where they had 3 releases a week, one AAA and two indie games, right?
One.
Yeah. Which is bad, clearly, because like if you didn't get one of those 104 slots or whatever, you were just
we're out
fucked.
of slots.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe if you signed with a publisher who had some slots left, maybe then you could get some slots.
Yeah, exactly.
Fez made some of our arcades. Fez was golden.
No, I'm just saying, like I remember people signing with Warner Brothers specifically. Wasn't Bastion published by Warner Brothers?
Was published by Warner Brothers.
Yeah, and like that stuff was that's clearly bad.
Yeah.
So what's the
middle ground? The middle ground is like.
The old middle ground was that you knew somebody at Valve who would give you who would approve your developer account, like before you had to pay.
Right.
Like you had when I signed up for a developer account, well, I was like, hey chat, I want to build VR games. Can you help me out? And they helped me out, right? He put me in touch with the right people and stuff happened.
Yeah.
But like if you're not me and don't know how to call, you sign up and you wait 3 months and you hope they approve you. And like if you're building a thing, then
and now it's not even that, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like, hey, you got $100?
Yeah.
Cryptojack, your fucking heart's content, man. Who cares? I feel like Valve's response to this should be something along the lines of, "Hey, we have decided to employ a number of people to police incoming submissions and thoroughly test this stuff out before it gets in your hands."
Well,
because you need to be able to trust in the storefront that you're allowing this level of access to your PC. You need to be able to trust that Steam or someone in some kind of capacity is looking at this shit before it goes out in a real way, not in a, I don't know, it passed like it just hits virus total every time someone uploads a build and it didn't trigger that, so I guess it's fine.
Yeah, I mean they should be running the software on machines there and seeing what it does to your system.
they probably need actual humans doing that stuff at some level. And
the way that it sounds like Valve works.
I feel like the way Valve works is the last thing they want is actual humans in any role. At least a grip of them, like at a large number. The last thing that they want is 100 people working customer service or whatever, right? I don't even know.
It would be more than 100. I mean, the thing is,
it would need to be more than
100. The Facebook solution to this is to build a secret building on their campus someplace and hire a bunch of contractors from someplace not here,
right?
And put them in there and not pay them fair wages and not give them real benefits. And that's not a great this is a hard problem.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe the right solution is to hire a bunch of developers to figure out a way to profile the games to look for naughty behavior. But I mean,
I think you attack it from multiple angles. Yeah. But I think like the way to do it while you're building the naughty behavior heuristic scanner is
brute force it.
Yeah, you need people. Just like they need people for policing their the moderation, community
people to talk
stuff.
Even Blizzard does a really good job of being in their communities and talking about stuff and responding to stuff.
Blizzard's selling 5 games.
Sure.
6 games or whatever.
But I mean, it's even for like Dota or CS:GO, the Valve's games, there's no presence of any kind in there, and it's the most played games on their platform. Dota, CS:GO, you run down the list. It's like the Valve games are the games that are consistently bringing in a ton of people across multiple periods of time.
Yeah. It's weird. It is still strange to think of even though I think we know people who work there, it is still strange to think of actual humans working at Valve because of how.
Did you read those tweets?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that was kind of, that's
not the first time I think some of us have heard things along those lines.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
It sounds like, making money for investors is
there's no
or not investors.
They're still a
Valve
private company.
Sorry, the
stakeholders.
Stakeholders, thank you, is the primary concern, which is the primary concern of any company, but maybe
I wonder,
pull
yes,
break a little bit on
but
that,
but also the more you hear about that
bonus system,
that bunch of tweets and
stuff like that,
and all the other stuff about the inner workings of Valve, it seems less like maximizing profit and more like a level of indifference.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There of just like, I guess I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll put some people on solving it if they want to roll their desks over there to the solve these big problems department.
What were the tweets? I missed this.
These were from a former.
Yeah, it was someone who was at Valve for a time, just talking about culture at Valve and how it worked. Nothing.
Yeah, it's a
nothing you haven't heard before.
kind of narco-syndicalist commune.
Yeah.
The big sticking point that stood out there was that employees, because it was this work wherever you want ecosystem, employees started learning that if you came up with an idea that was a really good idea, you get a solid bonus, and then you can just move on to something else. So it's like, okay, I think that we should add this to the compendium in Dota. Great idea, you get a bonus. Doesn't matter at that point if the thing actually goes through and works. The idea is already there. You've been rewarded for the idea. It seems like they work a lot on bonus systems, and then also the biggest bummer I got out of that was because it's such a bonus reliant system that a lot of people were trying not to hire maybe the best and brightest people to come in under them, because they might be the people coming in and getting the bonuses at that point, settling for maybe the less competitive people to bring it on. And this is
this is somebody who's
that's someone's personal take on that aspect of it, maybe, but that part's a little
wow.
I
mean, it's hard to scale, right? It's always hard to get big.
I'm sure on some level,
they've reached a scale heretofore unexplored.
I don't know, how do we actually solve these problems? It's but
it doesn't even look. The biggest problem is it doesn't even look like they're trying.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're clearly doing stuff.
Yes.
Right. Like the Friends update is okay, but it solves a problem that everybody already solved by using, or at least the subset of people I know that use Steam to play games solved by using Discord a year ago. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and
they're working on stuff like Artifact, and they are working
theoretically
on
games coming.
Yeah,
but I feel like the Friends update was one of those things of this doesn't actually solve any issue that I perceive Steam to have, and obviously people are going to have different issues with it across the board. But it's one of those things you look at and go who wanted this? I get that you want to try to like Discord is growing. Like, you know, just like Twitch, like reskinned the Curse client to look more like Discord.
Yeah.
You know, Steam's going to try to like reassert themselves in that space too, because they see Discord growing and taking on funding and doing what they're doing. They're like, oh, we actually probably should put some work into this because our stuff could be better. But man,
they added the ability to be online and invisible.
Yeah.
Which is the best thing that they've done in a long time from a usability standpoint.
I think that's the only option. There is no offline option.
When they first launched it, it did not have an offline option. They have since patched it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was offline for years because I don't use the Steam Friends stuff, and now I'm online and invisible, still not using the Steam Friends stuff.
Yeah.
But at least I can look and see what other people are doing. I don't know. Yeah. It's
Steam.
Everybody start using Uplay.
Now you're talking.
like that's yeah. It's like, what's the actual alternative?
Itch.io and
like
GOG.
Itch is good.
Yeah.
GOG.
Depends on. I mean, props to GOG because their version of No Man's Sky doesn't play multiplayer with people who bought Steam, and they were offering full refunds to people who even bought it like last year.
Yeah, they seem like a pretty decent, on the level kind of service from what I've seen.
It was very cool.
Yeah. All right, let's read some emails.
All right.
Bombcast@giantbomb.com. Email address.
Get your
First.
emails.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm into that. Corey,
Looking for some new
In the
music.
house.
You want to
What
bang it out?
you got a budget? What you got?
I could come up with something. What do we?
I got like,
got, like,
we
some
can get
energy
you
drinks or
$30.
something?
I got here. Let's
some
We
change.
can get
here.
you, I'll come in and record some
exposure.
vocals for you if you
Leftover
want.
Starbucks.
All right. What do hang
I
on.
sing a real good Picado song.
Here's 50, 60, 71 cents.
I'm not doing it for a penny more than 73 cents.
Well, no deal.
That can almost get you anything out of the snack vending machine.
Pretty exciting.
Almost.
Almost.
2 cents.
Except it doesn't take pennies. So
Well, he can go exchange that with somebody.
yeah, go to a bank with 5 pennies and say, "I need a nickel."
They legally have to do it. Will they legally have to do
have
that?
to.
Legal
have to serve
tender.
me?
It's legal
Okay.
tender.
It's fungible.
But also they charge a service fee. So it's $10 to get that nickel.
Damn it.
God help you if you want a Red Bull, though.
You're $1.
Depends on which machine you use.
Yep.
There's
Don't tell
it's
anyone.
It's definitely $2. It's definitely $2
Okay,
every
$2,
machine.
$2.
There's,
Okay.
there's no good machine.
Yeah.
There's the desperation Red Bull machine when the other one's empty. Great.
God damn it.
Nice
don't
work.
fucking-
That's me, the desperation Red Bull machine.
If I put $2 in you, will a Red Bull come out?
Something will come out.
Good.
Depends how much money you put in. Different things will come out.
Yeah.
All right, Corey from Woodstock, Ontario. This is actually a good question that I had not considered about where games seem to be going.
The
I
Giant
like starting-
Bombcast now with actual good
Yeah,
questions.
I like starting the email segment with
actually-
this was actually good.
No, I mean, like, this actually raises an interesting point about where we're going with streams. You'll see what I mean. 2 types of streaming are in our future. Twitch will continue to grow, and the console makers want to stream the games from cloud computing. Will the console makers cut out Twitch? Since my game will be streamed to my TV, why not have others log on to the same server and watch the same stream? The game makers could then control the content along with the advertising revenue and or subscription fees.
I mean, Mixer, Microsoft owns Mixer. They own their own streaming service.
Yeah.
Like, as long as Twitch is still a big deal, I assume that like the next Xbox will probably still have Twitch support built in.
I guess as long as there's people watching stuff on Twitch.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, why not?
At this point, it would be more harmful to them to not support Twitch
Right.
than it would to try to get all that money for themselves.
Right.
But also, yeah, maybe they offload that stuff instead of like the box in your house doing the pushing out to Twitch. Maybe the box in your house is just taking your audio and camera feed and pushing it out. And it's just pulling the gameplay footage from the source if you're playing on a
From
streaming
their data center or whatever.
I could see it.
Do you guys really buy into the whole cloud streaming thing for games?
Well,
No,
you
but I know
buy
that-
into
I
whether
talked about this.
Yeah.
there's 2 approaches to that question. Do we buy into that it's going to happen, or do we want it to happen?
Do you think that it will happen and be a success?
Well, I don't know if it'll be a success, but they're definitely going to take a shot
I think
at
they'll
it.
take a hybridized approach to it that will have limited success for certain types of games, and that for them to get there for all types of games will take network innovations that I can never foresee.
Speed of light and router performance.
Like that's the sort of stuff that like like fighting games, things that are latency dependent. The idea of playing that over a video stream right now or ever seems nuts.
Having played a lot of games on like a Steam Link inside my house where I have gigabit Ethernet all through the whole thing. Like you can't play Lumines on the Steam Link because the latency is enough that you miss.
Really?
I have a hard
Even on
time
a
with
LAN?
it. Even on a LAN. The 5 milliseconds is too much.
Yeah.
But I bet there will be plenty of people who can and don't notice the difference or don't care enough about the difference.
Maybe.
Or who can adapt to the difference. Like I've had laggy monitors when I played fighting games that I had to just get used to the different input lag, which I know is different than if there's lag between me reacting to somebody's move or something. But it's one of those things that I think that maybe if you grow up with it or if you're used to it, it's maybe not as big of an issue as we see it now.
Yeah. Well, will this be a generational thing where people become less sensitive?
And
the games grow up to adjust to that sort of thing too. You can, if you're designing a game from the top down and okay, this is going to be on Xbox 6, which is a streaming only thing, and you're making a fighting game, you can maybe make some steps along the way to
I think
head off.
My concern ends up being that if this method takes off and becomes a dominant way to play video games,
well, genres will die.
Yes. Genres will adapt and change to fit that format as opposed to the other way around. You will still have people that are like, well, I like to play my fighting games locally. And then other people going like, well, I like to play the new fighting games.
So what's the business logic on them for pushing this? The consoles are cheaper to manufacture and you spend less on compute in the cloud.
No,
playing the game?
It is total number of potential players. The minute that you can download an Xbox app for your iPad and play all those games there, all those game manufacturers. That's why, Eve from Ubisoft was out there talking it up. Like, publishers are like, fuck yeah, man. If you can get me in front of everyone who has a smart TV and instead of just like people who bought this box, like, let's fucking go.
But do you think, I kind of assume that the people who are interested in playing the kinds of games that come on those boxes probably are buying those boxes. Because I see everybody plays, I was in line at the grocery store last night and there was a 60-year-old woman in front of me playing a game on her phone while she was waiting in line. I was like, fuck yeah, video games, man. This is awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't know that she wants to play Call of Duty 17 or whatever.
Fortnite makes millions of dollars a day on mobile.
Yeah, you're right. You win.
That's not the ideal way to play Fortnite.
I like this era we're in now where you can just win an argument by just saying Fortnite.
Yeah, but this one extreme outlier is But no, you're right. You're right.
Kids in school are fucking playing Fortnite any fucking way they can get it. And
I was at the park yesterday. Just a quick side note, and I heard 4 different pairings of children talking about what I assume is Fortnite. They were talking about getting top 10s. Like 2 of the kids were getting top 10.
That's all drug lingo.
But it's kind of cool having this uniting game that when you hear children talk about something, odds are they're talking about Fortnite. And just having this one kind of massive game where it's such a cultural thing that other games, not even Minecraft, really ever got to.
I think Minecraft did. You just didn't play Minecraft. Or you were not hanging out with kids. But Minecraft, all the books, they were writing. I was in Costco. They were selling stories. Someone had written a Minecraft novel.
I would say the difference with this one is it is a game that forces you to play with other people, and so you're often almost always playing with your friends.
Sure.
And also, I think that the reach of Minecraft is substantially less than the reach of Fortnite now, because Fortnite got all those multiple versions out on all the different platforms really, really fast.
Yeah.
Pro athletes weren't doing the Minecraft dance.
They will. They'll do the Minecraft 2 dance. You'll see.
Yeah. As the video game dad on my block, I've had more conversations about Fortnite in the last 6 months than I've had about video games in the last 10 years of living on the street.
Yeah.
Because everybody comes to me and they're like, my kid's playing this game. Is this a problem? And
said
my
if
role
only
is to
they're
say,
bad.
yes. They're going to get into drugs. He's playing Fortnite now, but it's Sweet Lady H.
Play
next
PUBG
month.
instead. Here's a link to.
Let me show you a game I play.
Bring your kids over and watch my stream.
Yeah, exactly.
10% off this chair.
10% exactly.
I keep thinking about buying a fucking stupid gaming chair.
No, get a good chair. I got 10% off a Steelcase Gesture right now over at.
God damn it. No, I sat in some good chairs during pre-E3 Judges Week, and I don't know what the chairs were, but they were fucking nice.
Yeah.
I just got a really good chair.
Invest in yourself.
It's the one you
I bought a pretty good chair recently. I don't dislike my existing chair, but those chairs were real nice.
Buying a nice task chair, if you spend, I since I work at home and then play games all night, I sit in the same chair for 14 hours a day.
Hell yeah.
That's living.
It's. I mean, let me tell you,
Yeah.
you want to have some memory foam under that ass.
All
you want to get a nice headrest. You want to get adjustable arms.
Yeah.
It's really good stuff.
But that's Fortnite is the thing that I think when you look at the streaming future and can they make it happen, like people are willing to accept reduced versions of the experiences.
My wife plays Fortnite on the Switch.
Yeah. So I feel like if I was into Fortnite, I would be a real stickler for how I played it and probably only want to play either on PC or on one of the two powerful consoles, because I might go like, oh, I want to go down one notch quality-wise because I'd rather get matched up with controller people than PC than mouse and keyboard people.
But I mean,
for the same reason I play Call of Duty on a PlayStation instead of on PC. Like I actually want the reduced.
You want the people who aren't like 14 years old and have the instant reflexes.
The mouse and keyboard accuracy that like I can get back into if I put the time in. But instead, I'd rather play with the like more mainstream crowd of people who are less good.
Look, Jeff,
because I have a better time.
If you put 15 or 1600 hours into a game, you'll eventually get the ability to do zoom in headshots like once out of every 15 times you try it.
I want to get my fucking UT legs back.
Yeah.
And I can only do that by playing UT.
Did we answer that question at all?
I don't even know.
Yes. Yes, we did. Thank you for emailing in to get your question answered by
actually
professionals.
A good one. Yeah.
All right. Ben from Cincinnati.
It's me, but I eat chili on spaghetti.
Gross.
During your ranking of fighter series on your recent playthrough of Twin Goddesses, you mentioned how, quote, putting in blood type is a very Japanese thing. I was informed by my wife that this is in fact a very Japanese thing because they view blood type as a potential personality trait.
Yep.
Kind of like how people view their astrological signs as indicators of personality and temperament.
That makes sense.
If you're blood type A, you are earnest. Blood type O is confident. Bs are passionate.
True.
AB are creative, and you can go down the rabbit hole of compatibility and all of that jazz.
What about positives and negatives?
Just
like
to let you know that it
it's
isn't
whatever
just
on the cusp.
it's if you're positive or if you're negative.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we weren't making that shit up.
Yeah.
What if my blood type is boiling?
I mean, he links to the Wikipedia
should
page
see a doctor.
for blood type personality theory. If you really,
this is all science, right?
It said theory right in it, so yes.
Yeah. Anything on ranking of fighters.
Ranking of fighters is about science.
I know.
Let's see, blood type personality and 5-factor model, brain waves and light topography. Anybody?
Alphas
Sure.
and deltas.
Here you go. It's all here.
I am very passionate. That's 100% correct.
Yeah.
Oh, they do have worse traits here.
Oh.
Type O's are unpredictable, spiteful, self-centered, and cold.
That's me.
All right, there you go.
Dye everything black.
Who even knows their blood type here?
Black. I don't.
I think
know.
I'm A
I
positive,
should.
but I
I
can't
don't have.
remember.
I could not tell you.
I was just told recently, and I don't remember it.
Nobody
B
remembers unless
positive.
it's like the universal one.
Hold on, I put it in the phone app when you did the health thing.
I wonder if I did that.
What?
What's my negative for B?
What if I'm B positive? Am I actually like negative or something?
Hang on.
No, you're positive.
This
man.
doesn't seem to distinguish positive or negative. Sorry, what was it?
B.
You want worst?
I want negative. Yeah.
Irresponsible, forgetful, selfish, lazy, impatient,
Oh my God, this is uncanny.
I'm not selfish.
unreliable, going own way.
A Ben going his
I'm
own
not
way.
selfish.
Go my own way.
What about AB?
Yeah, wiped
Negatives
out.
for AB.
Critical, indecisive, unforgiving, and aloof.
Aloof.
Is AB
We
the
are always,
universal
you
recipient?
are pretty aloof. You're
Yeah.
always just kind of walking around the studio, looking up in the clouds.
I always leave you when we play games together.
Yeah,
True.
that is true. You motherfucker.
It wiped sometime with an update. When it's not
Can you get like a
available.
transfusion so we can get along better?
Right, yeah.
That's why you have to become blood brothers.
Blood in, blood
I have a
out.
knife.
New show
Yeah.
dropping.
Check out the next Breakfast in Ben.
Cutting these palms.
All right, Anders from Norway.
Hey.
What's
Hey,
weirder, if you know who warmed up the toilet seat or if you don't?
Because
Yeah,
I
why-
talked up
why is
about
it
the
a
bidet.
Positive thing is like, hey, I kept the seat warm for you with your butt. I don't want your butt.
What's wrong with
warmth on
butt to
mine.
butt I almost said combat.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. DOA taught us that
Yeah.
butt to butt combat is
I'd rather
just
have
fine.
a cold seat than somebody's butt warmth.
I got no problem with a warm toilet seat.
Yeah, I'm not squeamish about I'm
No.
squeamish about a lot of stuff, but I'm fine with toilet seats. I don't even use the little gasket because I can never figure out how to work it.
Would you rather? Okay. Would you rather have a really warm toilet seat or a cold toilet seat with just one little bit of moisture somewhere that you feel when you sit down.
Damn it. You had to add the moisture. Like, I want the cold seat for sure, but God, who knows where that moisture came from?
You don't want
I'd
cold
take the
and
warm
damp.
one.
Huh?
You'd want warm and damp rather than cold and damp, though, I think.
No, I'd take cold and damp because then all the airborne, if it's like airborne stuff in there, it'll die.
Yeah.
But warm and damp, like
I feel confident in the sanctity of my butt cheeks that they can fight off whatever I might pick up from the toilet
Totally.
seat.
I've got a resilient ass.
Yeah.
I don't really worry about it.
I do not. I have a rookie ass that it's going to fall apart any minute now.
Old and leathery over here. Seriously, does anybody know how to work the gasket thing? I never know how to do the thing.
Gasket
I always nope.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
The thing you
paper-
pull down sheet thing, the wax paper?
Oh, that thing.
yeah.
No.
Does the flap go in the front or the back?
Oh, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say the front.
The
'Cause
like
that's
seat
so,
cover?
Yeah, the seat
Yeah.
cover.
Let's
The
say the
paper,
front.
the
Yeah.
flap.
Yeah.
The
I
cut
just
out for the hole.
So I fold it in half and tear the flap
What?
out and just put the U shape on the outside of the seat.
Never thought of that.
Then you don't have to worry about it.
I put
amazing.
2 on just for full coverage.
Actually,
Wow.
now I
It's
just
good. Yeah.
I just take some toilet paper and
Yeah,
give it
just
a quick
I
wipe.
give it a quick wipe and then just sit directly down.
Now, when you use two, they rub together, and it actually makes it worse.
When you were doing potty training, did you when you were doing potty training, did you like look up on the internet to see if there was new advances in wiping technology that you needed to be training your kid?
No, but should I?
I learned stuff.
Okay.
There's
all right.
YouTube videos.
All right. I knew from having a daughter. You
Hey,
don't
what's
go
up, guys?
you
It's
don't
White
go-
Master
you don't go back to
44.
front.
No.
Yeah.
Back at it again. I learned a new technique. It's called front to back. Check it out.
Yeah, front
Make
to
sure to
back.
like and
That's the right way to go. Yeah.
smash that flush button and smash that like button.
Yeah.
Take a moment. You get
Yeah.
10% off the changing table. It's a Racer X changing table.
Look, you get the kidney shape
You're
changing
You're a
pad.
proper mommy blogger now over there.
As somebody who used to work with mommy bloggers,
Hashtag
how
spawn.
dare you?
Hashtag spawn.
All right. Jesse from Perth, Australia. eBay is open, and I'm staring down the barrel of one of these three classic handhelds. An Atari Lynx, a WonderSwan Color, or a Sega Game Gear. Which one is the least bad? It's a sickness. Please help.
Don't.
Can you read Japanese?
Yeah, don't get a WonderSwan if you can't read Japanese.
Yeah.
It's pointless. Lynx games are probably going to be more expensive, but I think it's a better system than the Game Gear.
What was good
I
on the
would-
Game Gear? Like, could
It's
you
a
play?
huge library.
Yeah.
though.
Couldn't you put?
playing a game for 20 minutes?
Couldn't you put Master System? Those weird Master
There was
System
an adapter
cards?
you could
Oh,
get
okay.
to play Master
Oh,
System
yeah.
games.
Okay.
The Master Gear.
But also,
It was
I
a
don't-
third-party thing to go
That's a
that way.
solid
There was an
point.
official thing for the
the other way.
other way.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm lying. Anyway,
I don't think I'd want to play any Master System games really at this point.
Still, I'm struggling to think
Covelius,
of like
though.
any
Yeah.
good Lynx games, like Clax. And
Pinball Jam.
Okay.
They had
Crystal the Chips Challenge came out on the Lynx.
Oh, hell
That's
yeah.
a great
Oh,
version of Chips
okay.
Challenge.
The Lynx had that weird arcade version of Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
Oh.
Crystal Cave,
Oh.
Crystal Caverns, Crystal Caves, Crystal Caves 2.
They had some eclectic
Do you
stuff
think-
on there.
We could ever get a chip challenge too?
The Chip Challenge came out on Steam
Yeah.
last year,
Yeah.
Is
year
it like
before.
the old one or the new one?
I think
It's
it's
like a remake.
The old,
right?
it's a remake
Something?
with new stuff in it. I think there is a
Okay.
game called Chips Challenge 2 that I think
Yeah.
came out as part of that.
You probably want the newer Lynx, though, right?
The Lynx 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're choosing. I think the
Better
Lynx 2
battery?
is a better,
think it's just
a better
smaller
form
and
factor,
more-
a little
more-
smaller. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
more
don't know.
streamlined.
Did those use AA still?
Yeah.
I would say Game Gear.
Get a plug-in adapter.
Columns, just playing
Yeah.
columns all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I would take a Game Boy with just Tetris glued into the slot over any of those.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get two of those.
Benedict from Shepherd's Bush in London.
Shepherd's Bush, London.
Are you worried about Red Dead
I think it's
Redemption
where
2?
the BBC is.
Could be. Are you worried about Red Dead Redemption 2 as it's the first Rockstar Games game without Leslie Benzies, and we haven't seen any gameplay footage of it beyond trailer stuff? Will it turn out they do indeed need the bins?
They've been so opaque. They don't let you in on who does what in those games.
Yeah.
So like it was fun when all the lawsuit stuff was happening. It was just like, oh, what is this going to change? But we don't actually know.
Yeah.
So,
Also, that game's been in development so long, he may well have worked on
right.
some
How-
portion
is
of it.
Is it still this year? Or did they push it to next
No,
year?
it's this year.
Okay.
I'm not worried about
currently.
Yeah. Okay.
the single player, but I am a little bit worried about the multiplayer after the success that they've seen in GTA
100
5.
Cowboys.
I don't think there's necessarily going to be a battle royale, but if they're gearing this, it's one of those things of like, how much focus are they putting on the different parts of the game, and how much of that focus has shifted over the last couple years because of how much money GTA 5's online has made them.
Right.
I think GTA Online just remains as its own kind of separate thing.
I think so. But what if they're like, okay, we could. Eventually, people are going to fall off GTA.
Yeah, if they just want to replicate that with another
Red
game.
Dead funnel.
Yeah, if they've learned a lot about how to make money on people post-release with GTA Online. So yeah, maybe they end up putting more resources into a Red Dead Online. Does that come at the expense of the single player?
Right.
Do they integrate it more? Like there's a lot of stuff that they could.
Wasn't Benzie's whole argument that he was sort of the mastermind of the GTA Online stuff?
Something like that.
He wanted royalties on it, I think.
Yeah,
right?
something like that.
What if the Red Dead Online has the single player has campaigns? You can send out cowboys to do missions, and those cowboys are actually people playing.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
Or they just build off of GTA and put
Yeah.
Red Dead stuff in that.
Because Red Dead's
engine.
one's multiplayer was really weird.
Yeah, it was like, strange that it had it at all, and what they did have was
the like
just
bounty
like, it's
stuff
not
was
really
weird. Yeah,
It was
cool at the time in
Yeah.
a weird way, but it wasn't. Yeah,
I remember playing it like a Thursday night throwdown in the Sausalito office.
yeah.
And like those, like going up and attacking forts with like 10 people was really cool.
Yeah, it was a neat
Yeah.
thing at the
Yeah.
time. That I wonder how much of that led to GTA Online.
Yeah.
And then now when they come back around on it, like what they've learned a lot.
Making it
They've got a
persistent
lot of data.
adds a lot, it turns out.
Yeah, they've got a lot of data about how to sell shark cards.
All right, Dylan from London. Back in 2014, Games Workshop made the conscious decision to open up their Warhammer IPs to any and all game companies that wanted it instead of having just one or two master licensees.
I think at this table, between the 6 of us, there are 8 Warhammer games being developed by just the people at this table alone.
Yeah. This means there are now 15 plus new Warhammer games in development as opposed to just a couple, and this is a decision that has saved the overall brand from hardship from the decreased revenues of their core tabletop games business. What other dying or dead non-video game franchises with strong lore and characters do you think could benefit from opening up their IP licensing freely to video game companies?
The Snorks.
Star Wars.
I was gonna say Star Wars.
Just Paul.
I honestly,
Let everybody make Star Wars games.
Trek would be good too.
Yeah, maybe.
Shrek.
Yeah.
Shrek for sure.
Shrek and Star Trek.
Star Shrek.
Star Shrek.
Okay.
Or
You mean
Space.
Shrek 40K?
Yeah, Shrek 40K.
Yeah.
I like the post-apocalypse better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets rid of those stupid orcs and turns them into space orcs.
Ogres.
Yeah, way cooler. Space ogres.
Now I need Shrek in Space Marine armor.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Fast and Furious.
All right.
Yeah, like
There you go.
there's a heist game, there's a racing game, there's a
Dating sim.
there's a
Battle
jumping cars
Royale.
between buildings game. There's
Yeah.
like a mobile game where you tap to make the Rock flex the cast off of his arm.
There's a game that's just the end of Fast 5 with the vaults tied to the back of the cars, and it's a car combat game.
That sounds
There's a
that sounds like a Wreckfest mod.
There's a mobile game that is literally like you driving with a wrecking ball attached to the back of your car, and you just do donuts to break buildings. I forget what it's
That
called.
sounds
Though. It's
good.
old. But now I'm gonna look it up because I think I still have it installed.
I really, man, I had one a minute ago and I lost it. I think
Smash
Transformers could do with that.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
I could see Transformers, like I could see a big open world Transformers. I could see like a fighting game Transformers. I could see like a Vermintide Transformers.
Yeah, okay.
A dungeon crawl Transformers would be really cool.
Yeah.
Like the problem you run into when you're making Transformers games is that when you think about what Transformers was, there were no fodder enemies. It was always, everyone was a named character. And so every time they do a game and you have to kill a bunch of generic Decepticons, it doesn't ring as true.
Jeff, you're backwards on this one. The fodder enemies were the people.
Yeah.
So you play as the Decepticons.
Okay.
And you're fighting the humans and the Autobots.
Okay.
And you have to crawl through until you get to the Ark.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to reach into Optimus Prime's heart and pull out the mantle of command or
the
legionality.
mantle of command,
yeah, whatever
the mantle
it was.
of legionality.
Yeah. And then you put it into your chest.
Yep. And then I carry the mantle of legionality. and then I try to open it, and I go, damn it, and then,
then
Robert Stack gets killed.
Yeah, and Starscream grabs it, and he takes it, and he becomes in charge.
And he
for
starts
a
wearing
bit.
a crown.
Yeah. And then G.I. Joe's there for some reason.
Yeah.
Because cross licensing.
Yeah, why not?
Synergy.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Duke's okay.
You can delete this out of the game, out of the podcast.
Yeah, no,
we can go pitch this, right? This is a good idea.
I want a Saints Row game. That's the G.I. Joes.
Oh yeah.
I don't even really have a fondness for G.I. Joe, but the idea of having a specialized team like that.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's an ice storm over the city. Call Snow Job. Snow Job's got to come in and take this one.
I guess what I'm saying is I want Agents of Mayhem.
Let me tell you, you don't want Agents of Mayhem. It was on sale recently. You don't want Agents of Mayhem.
Agents of Mayhem. Moby Dick.
Now we're talking.
Smurfs is a good one. Like a dating, like a Stardew Valley Smurfs type thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, Stardew. Yeah, would totally work with that.
Did you see there's an Animal Crossing clone coming out this week?
Wow.
I can't remember
With the
name of
Smurfs?
Is it Manimal Crossing? Because that'd be okay.
Castaway something?
Huh.
You know, Animal Crossing was the original title for the island of Dr. Moreau.
God damn it, Ben.
All right. Matthew from
You
Philadelphia.
saying Manimal Crossing inspired that joke. I just want you to know.
Matthew from Philadelphia. I was wondering if cheat codes are still relevant. Still remember the button combo cheat codes for GTA 3, but I haven't heard anyone talk about a certain button combo for infinite ammo, extra life, God mode, etc. for any game in recent years. Why aren't there any cheat codes anymore?
All you bastards that love achievements and trophies.
And microtransactions.
Microtransactions and playing online with your friends. You killed it.
What happened
Thanks
to
a lot.
What happened to putting a game in and turning it on and hitting go?
What happened to blowing into a cartridge to make it work? Now you have to call the damned EA hotline.
If you type IDKFA into Doom 2016, does anything
I
happen?
don't know. That's a good question.
It says, get off this game, Grandpa.
Yeah.
You're too old. Go home.
Just some
Here's a copy of Skyrim.
Yeah, there are console commands for some PC games, certainly.
Yeah.
That still exist, but
There's a thing called Cheat Engine.
oh yeah. If I decide to ever switch from PlayStation to PC No Man's Sky,
Yeah.
Cheat Engine will be the way.
That stuff isn't built into.
No.
Cheat engine stuff is not built into.
That's why it's better, because
but
it's not.
God, that extra seems like a way to just completely break that game.
Totally.
It is a bit of a bummer. I played some Tetris Attack yesterday with some friends, and I still remembered the code to unlock the playable bad guys, and just I remember a lot of codes, and it was a really cool thing of just discovering how to break open a game.
It was like a magic spell.
But also
it's like you're putting a magic spell into your
Yeah.
game and making something
But
happen.
the internet broke a lot of the word of mouth, because fatalities in Mortal Kombat were that way too.
I was
And-
buying magazines that had cheat codes in them. And
I guess
stuff.
I used to make those.
Oh, it's your fault.
part of the problem.
20,001 cheats.
by Will Smith.
I
What was
copied
the
one
one?
of those one time. It was the worst I've ever. Oh, it was horrible.
It's like, oh, this is up instead of down. You need to send the whole thing back.
Did you have to test the?
No, we
code?
didn't.
Okay.
No, we would cross check against GameFAQs or something like that. Probably.
I still remember doing the first Animality on MK3 in my local arcade.
Yeah.
And it was against the kid who was like the hot shot,
Oh.
like the hot shit kid of the arcade. And he just sort of stood there in silence for a second. And then he was just like, how'd you do it?
Honestly,
I had a FAQ in my back pocket.
like that stuff is kind of that's one of the reasons I like No Man's Sky. It's one of the things that grabbed me about Zelda last year, right? Is that there was kind of there's kind of a word of mouth thing. Like Austin posted something the other day that completely changed the way I was going about raising money in No Man's Sky, and having that kind of that, hey, I figured out this thing, you should try it, is part of the appeal of that game. It's part of the appeal of Monster Hunter. It's part of the appeal.
It was part of the appeal of Fez at launch.
Yeah.
When there was no FAQ for Fez,
Oh my God.
and there was a bunch of people working together to try to decipher some of the more esoteric stuff in Fez.
I still have my notebook, just
Yeah.
full of scribbles.
It was
and
awesome.
drawings and stuff.
And I feel like that's the cool experience that codes don't need to necessarily exist anymore. I don't know. Cheating in games is fun though.
It's fun to break the game.
Yeah.
It was also fun. Like there's probably a bit of
Don't need
nostalgia.
cheats to break games today though. Am I right? Back in my day.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the issue of you get your me growing up, you get your one game for your birthday or Christmas or whatever, and you play through it, and it just becomes boring, and then you learn that there are a bunch of codes you can use to manipulate the game, make it harder, get right to the last level or your favorite level, just like fuck around. I remember all the Super Star Wars like debug mode stuff was really cool because I could just play any character in any level. Like it just made the games have so much more life after just playing through them once.
Yeah.
I've been playing Lego Incredibles with my kid, which is, by the way, it's very good.
Yeah, I've been playing some too.
And it has a place to put codes in. Like I don't know where
really?
you get the codes. I assume you have to sign up for like the Warner Brothers app or the Lego game app or something.
Yeah, a lot of the Lego games do that as well.
But
so,
it's like so they're still there.
They're still out there.
Yeah, for the kids.
It's the people who grew up liking codes and wanted to bring it back.
Probably.
Are putting it in their games.
All right. MJ from NH. Over the weekend, I attended a wedding where the food was served family style, with dishes being passed around for the table. I found myself still very hungry with no food left to be seen at my table at the end of dinner. As the guests headed towards the dance floor, I scavenged the other tables for food that was still left in the serving dishes.
Good.
After a few minutes, my girlfriend pulled me aside and asked in a disgusted manner, "What the hell are you doing?" The food wasn't touched, so it seemed okay to me.
Right.
Have you guys ever picked for uneaten food at parties, weddings, or even room service trays left in the hall? If it's untouched, it seems like fair game to me.
Hold on, was it on other people's plates or was it still on the
No,
family
you said it
style
was
plates?
in the serving
dish.
dishes.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's absolutely fine.
Both people are right there. Like, yes, it's fine. The food is not tainted because it was still in the dish.
Yeah.
Also, she was right to go, what the fuck are you doing?
We're at a wedding. They're dancing, and you're over here
like
stuffing
fucking raiding other tables for
cannoli
food.
into your mouth.
At my wedding, someone fucking stole the cake off my fucking plate.
They did.
That always happens, dude.
It was not me.
God, dude.
I didn't do it.
It was me.
I saw it.
I thought, you don't eat at your own wedding, right?
I stole your base and I
supposed to.
stole your cake too.
Fucked up. It's fucked up.
At the same time, you're trapped at a wedding. Like, you're
Yeah.
probably not going to get to eat for another 2 or 3 hours. So you
Yeah.
kind
We
of
get-
do what you got to do.
We got sequestered away, like the party planner or whatever grabbed us, brought us upstairs with a plate of food and stuff, and there was a half hour where we just like ate, and it was awesome.
I mean, the thing about the family style, especially if you're at a big table, though, is like you don't want to take a dainty serving because you want to make sure there's enough to go around, and then like if it doesn't come back, you're boned.
I don't understand the setup at this wedding because presumably there would be a dish at every the same thing would come to every table.
I think
or at
he's
least
saying that his
multiple
table
things.
got cached. Like,
Right.
all the
No,
food was
but
gone.
like,
He's like,
how
well,
does this happen? How does this happen to a
someone
How do you
said,
not
"Fuck it,"
start
and
at
took all
multiple
of it.
points though?
Yeah.
Or like, okay, the squash is going to start over here, and the spaghetti is going to start over here, and
I think he got some food, just not enough.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is on the catering, and at that point, you're open to do things your way.
Yeah.
So
Just gotta be sneaky.
I went to a wedding that was like the reception was a Chinese banquet, like at a fancy Chinese place in Oakland.
Yeah.
And like I was at the white people table.
Yeah.
And like we ended up negotiating trades with the other tables because like there was some stuff that didn't really get touched at my table, and then like they brought all the sweet and sour pork over to us, and like everybody was happy. But like I don't know.
I feel like when people get up to dance, like the move shouldn't have been go over and scavenge other tables. The move should have been get your empty plate, bring it over to that table, make one swap, sit back down at your table, and just be like, "Oh, I'm just still here eating." And that would have been that would have
been the move.
Because if you're over there just scavenging onto your plate at someone else's table, your girlfriend is right to walk over and go, "Dude, fucking what the fuck?
The best
Get
move-
your shit
That's fair.
together."
Yeah.
The best move is find where there's a table with food and at least one person. And you sit down, you introduce yourself, and you start talking to them. And
The thing is
you
like,
gotta
all
carry
the
your
plates
plate.
are there. You have to bring your plate over at that point.
That's gonna be awkward, and probably your napkin and like a drink. You don't be walking around with silverware.
that's
not a good
point.
look.
Maybe you have like a little Tupperware thing, and you just shovel in.
There you go.
into
Wave
it.
jacket.
Fake
Fake leg.
so you work in tech. That's cool. Like
you take a Glad trash bag and put it in your waistband, and then it's kind of sticking up above the part of your pants, and you just start cramming the food into that, and then you just got one really
you can
wide
just
leg
unzip
at the
your
end of the
zipper
night.
and fill it in through
you
that
just let it
way.
go. Yep,
That's what
there
that
you go.
homeless
Stuff
guy did
the
at
food in your zipper.
Lee's the other day.
What?
Gross.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a guy who just walked in with a trash bag and started handfuls of chicken in his
did you use
garbage
the
bag.
scooper? You just
No, his hands.
Oh.
His hands. Yeah, he wasn't wearing a shirt.
I mean, look, would any of us really be if we didn't have to?
Yeah, not at a wedding. That's for sure.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with this guy.
No.
Don't eat the food. It's
Again,
go to waste.
Again, you're trapped at a wedding. You do what you got to do.
I think Jeff's right, though.
You got to be fucking stealth on this shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's still a social setting. Like, people are going to go like, remember, he was going around from table to table picking all the fucking food.
It's like a photographer taking pictures of you.
Just make the fucking swap on the low, and then...
As we can see here, clearly he moved from table 6 to table 7.
Yeah.
Spent 2 minutes there, stuffing his
hungry
face.
wedding guest scavenges table.
Stole
7
my fucking
through
cake.
13. Yeah, okay. Never mind. Move on. We've exhausted.
All right. Connell from Scotland. I'm struggling to remember what you would call these events, but recently I noticed the fact that studios seem to have been putting on relatively big release events for influencers. Star Wars Battlefront 2 flying people out to their studio, Far Cry 5 and their ranch and helicopter thing. Do you think we're going to see a bigger return to these pre-release events in the age of the influencer, since YouTube personalities can benefit from spectacle, which in turn helps drive traffic not only to a YouTuber's channel, but also acts as marketing for a game? With many game sites being very textual in nature, it seems like money down the drain. However, YouTubers make videos which are obviously really visual in nature, so these events can create a bit of pizzazz for the person's videos. It seems almost better suited to that medium. I guess what I'm asking is, are we going to see dogfighting in the skies of Las Vegas again?
Maybe. I feel like this is something, though, that isn't necessarily an adaptation of that stuff. This is straight out of the influencer marketing playbook where, like, you know, you have a lot of, like, a makeup company is taking a lot of makeup YouTubers on a cruise. And, hey, just shoot whatever videos you want, but make sure you say you're on our cruise. And then, hey, here's our palettes and all this, you know, like all that stuff happens there constantly. So I feel like that. Also, I'm pretty sure, unless it was a separate event, but I'm pretty sure we got invited to that Far Cry event. I think that was they were like, hey, we're having a Far Cry event in Livermore. Do you want to come play Far Cry in Livermore? And I think my response in my head, not in the email, was like, you guys are 3 blocks from here. I'm not going to go to Livermore to play Far Cry.
I would have gone to Livermore.
And also,
I love Livermore.
Then it was like, oh, you know, you can maybe get some direct feed, but maybe. And it was like, okay, at some point, is this worth the time? Anyway,
I love Livermost.
At the end of the day, it was not worth our time to go to that thing. But I think that was was probably that event. So I think we still get invited to some of that stuff, but they are not helicoptering people in. I don't know. I did not see any videos from the Far Cry event, so I don't actually know what it entailed.
Yeah.
But I have been in a helicopter before. Mm-hmm. We made the newspaper because they thought it was Obama. Because a helicopter was landing in a field and then getting into a car
to pick you up.
We were going, to go out to where the event was being held.
Wow.
They drove everybody to a hangar, and then multiple hours after that, people in small groups got onto helicopters, like 9 at a time, which is it just smells of gas.
Yeah.
And they gave everybody helmets first, and they're like, you can put your helmet on if you want. You don't really,
This is a Call of Duty thing?
Yeah. And then landed in a field where there was a car to get people from the helicopter to the car to the place where the game was.
It blindfolds you when you get in the car.
No, nothing no.
I feel like that would have added to the experience.
There's probably been events. There have been events where it's been like, oh, it's like a spy thing, so we're going to blindfold you. It's like a fun thing. Like, all right,
I'll take a nap.
Yeah.
I feel like if anyone blindfolded me like that, I'd just fall asleep.
Yeah, so I don't know. But yes, like influencer marketing is very much about that because...
Do you think they ever go to that level of spectacle? Because a lot of YouTubers are just happy to be there, right? And they're gonna say positive stuff if it's just like a
not the top of the top.
The biggest ones.
Yeah,
the big ones are gonna.
The big ones are gonna they seem to want a certain level of treatment and money and all this other stuff. Like they've pretty much got a rate card at this point.
Oh, I mean they straight up have I know people who are journalists who have called to get quotes and do interviews with big influencers.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, okay, it's my interview rate is $5,000.
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't, it's not that kind of, and they're like, no, that's just what I charge. If you want to do an interview about your thing, then it's $5,000. I'll send a bunch of people to you. And they're like, I'm writing for the New York Times. This isn't how that works. So yeah.
Yeah. That stuff is broken. People are taking their worth to mean a totally different thing than it really does and acting real wild.
Well, at the same time, they can get paid for doing that.
I mean, hey, if you're paying that rate, then I guess fucking There you go.
So I mean, I guess the challenge on the marketers is they can either pay somebody, big dollars to show up, or they can do something that's so spectacularly cool.
Right.
They're going to want to do it for a rate that, So I don't know.
And then they make a bunch of videos with whatever hashtag, and they'll say what you want.
Yeah.
Like when you're paying those people to come in and say a thing, they say the thing. When you bring in journalists, you can't pay them to say the thing.
Yeah.
So you don't know what you're going to come out of the event with. So it makes sense.
All right, Robert from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. On last week's show, you talked about Nintendo going after ROM sites and their efforts to clamp down on piracy. In addition to the Switch firmware issues we've been hearing about this year, it got me thinking piracy in gaming has long been an issue, but as far back as I can recall, it seems to always center around Nintendo, both with systems and games. My question is, why has piracy always seemingly revolved around them? They are far from the only game company out there, but you rarely hear about issues with Xbox or PlayStation. Is there something about Nintendo and its games that attracts piracy more than others? Why do we never hear about ROM sites and system hacks related to the other platforms?
That stuff happens too.
Yeah.
I think the Xbox One is the only platform that has been secure.
The first time I ever saw a hacked console was a 360, and
Yeah, I mean, if we were having this conversation in the late 90s, it was nothing but PlayStation piracy.
Totally.
Well, and then Dreamcast.
I mean,
also.
that's why those mod chips existed.
Yeah, fucking PlayStation 1 piracy was like the thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and the thing about Microsoft is that they learned with XP that security through obscurity doesn't work, and that they have to actually do things the way that the industry standard way.
They have real InfoSec.
Yeah. And I think they've gotten good at it, and I think Sony maybe came to that later after the PS3 hack.
Yeah.
And Nintendo kind of still hasn't had the 3DS was owned 5 years ago now, 6 years ago, something.
Probably something like that.
Yeah. And like they lost a little. I mean, the question is how much money did they lose off of this stuff? And
Like probably not that much.
Yeah. So I mean, the other thing is people have gone to the effort of making the services that surround the platforms worth keeping, so that you can't have a hacked machine and still connect to them and do the things that you want to do on that platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like they have done a lot more with the Switch, though, with those individually signed games. And stuff
we
like
had a call in the after show from someone who had filled up their Switch with that stuff, and it sounds interesting, but it also sounds like they've maybe done a better job at securing some stuff. Somewhat better. I guess it's still a problem, but
can you roll that stuff back, or do we know?
I think it depends on what you do. Okay. I think there are multiple ways to go about it that are either temporary, like a temporary jailbreak every time you boot it up, and then a way to kind of enforce it full time. There might not be a way back from that. And I'm not sure.
Okay.
Another Switch question from Christopher in Connecticut. With re-release titles such as 7-year-old Skyrim and 4-year-old Mario Kart 8, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, and Hyrule Warriors all listed at $59.99, as well as the tons of indie games listed at equal or higher prices than their original releases on PC, am I wrong in thinking these prices on Switch are irrational? I probably enjoy the portability of having these games on Switch, but I just can't justify paying full price for them again on principle.
Then don't.
How long should we expect to see games like Skyrim priced at $60?
For as long as people pay it.
Yeah.
Like,
which $60 games do you predict will be the first ones to lower?
Third-party games.
I'm still waiting on 1-2 Switch to get cheap.
I'm waiting for a price error.
I mean, first-party stuff from Nintendo usually holds its value. Yeah. Like, they don't drop the price down
until it becomes part of their their greatest hits line is called.
Activision stuff never Call of Duty's expensive forever now.
Yeah. It's Activision, Nintendo, Blizzard.
So some of that stuff that stuff's been on sale more often over the last year or two. Call of Duty specifically, like I want to say, World War II you can probably get for like $40 digitally.
Okay. That's fair. Without the expansion stuff.
Right.
There is a small number of companies that almost never discounts anything.
Yeah.
And they happen to be the ones who can get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like no one's twisting your arm saying, buy Hyrule Warriors. Like, don't buy it.
Don't listen
especially if you played it somewhere else. But like,
I mean, or not. Just I mean, it's fine either way.
But there are plenty of people who never played that game because it came out on the Wii U that, as we said at the top of the show, no one owned. So to those people, it's a brand new game. So they're trying to put one over on people that way.
Same with Tropical Freeze.
Yeah,
I would have paid $20 or $30 for Tropical Freeze, but the bummer with that one is that as soon as it came out on the Switch, they delisted it from the Wii U eShop.
But people have been, people have, especially at the point when stuff like that was coming out, like people were hot for new things to do with their Switch. Yeah. So I'm sure plenty of people who played it back on the Wii U probably bought it again.
Yeah. Also, funky mode.
I bought Mario Kart Deluxe because I love Mario Kart and I play Mario Kart a lot, right? Like I still play Mario Kart a lot. Like I haven't bought any of the other stuff that you listed, but I would probably buy, like if Pikmin came out, if they re-released Pikmin 3, I'd probably buy Pikmin 3 again because that is a great game. I'm just buy the stuff you like and be prepared to pay full price, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
with stuff with stuff like Skyrim, of course it's been for sale on the PC forever for cheap and stuff like that. But when it comes to a new console, that history isn't there. And
it's not like porting that game to the Switch costs $0.
Right.
So at some point there's that aspect of it. But I mean, I guess what I would say is like, yeah, I agree. Like I wouldn't pay full price for Skyrim at this point either. But I don't know that I find it irrational. I get why they would do it.
I mean, and if you've like it also it makes more sense if you haven't played the game before. Like if you've never played Skyrim before, $60 for like 500 hours of content or whatever that game is makes, not that we're doing dollars per hour or whatever, but like that's a fucking great game.
That's like my mom's only console is a Switch. She doesn't have a PC. She doesn't have anything, and she had a really good time with Breath of the Wild and was looking for another recommendation. So I told her check out Skyrim, and she'd gladly pay $60 for that game, never going in, and I'm sure she's gonna get hundreds of hours of entertainment out of it.
Having played 100 hours of Skyrim on the PC, I'm probably okay. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. And maybe if it went on sale for super cheap and you're like, oh, I'll check it out. I'm going to be traveling a lot or whatever, you'd pick it up on the Switch at some point. Like,
collect some cheese again.
Yeah.
A couple more emails. Alex from Brentwood. Curious to know if you have ever been amazed by the durability or quality of any gaming hardware or accessory, regardless if it took off and succeeded or if it turned out to be a bust. For example, I own a Nintendo DS Lite, and after being stuffed in a drawer for over a year, to my surprise, the device still powered on without having to charge it. It was good for a couple of hours of play, and it just amazed me at the quality of the battery Nintendo used. I would love to know if you have had any experiences similar to mine, be it with a console, controller, or accessory.
Back at Game Informer, we had a drawer full of old DSs and PSPs, and we actually, like Dan and I went through one day and just like started flipping them on to find out what worked. Like all of the Nintendo stuff worked. Nothing with the PSPs.
I pulled a DSi, I think, out of a box that had to have been in that box for like 5 years, and it totally powered on.
Yeah,
and was not even low battery.
I went through all my 360 controllers because I had multiple. I was on the hardware list at Microsoft when the 360 was a thing, so I had a bunch of 360 controllers, and I was going through like with an eye toward getting rid of the stuff that wasn't working, put batteries and everything. All of them were good. Like none of the buttons were dead. None of the triggers were dead. Yeah. There was one with a sticky left bumper where I think somebody poured a beer or something on it at some point.
It happens.
But like other than that, those things were pretty indestructible.
Like the play and charge batteries.
Those were terrible.
Those terrible.
Yeah, those things died after like a year.
Well, they were not lithium ion batteries. They were NiCad or
bad. But other than that,
I had to go back and find all of the AA backs after I'd bought a couple of play and charge kits. And
I feel like Nintendo stuff in general has just always been built like a tank.
Yeah, my Game Boy Color still
DS
works.
hinge thing.
Yeah, there's a couple issues here and there.
I mean, the GameCube had a handle for a reason, so you could just take it and knock somebody out.
That's right. Yep.
The launch 3DS, the battery conked out and like the hinge broke. Yeah, but that's the only one I've had.
Yeah, that's fair.
I remember the DS Lites had the little hinge cracking thing.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember the cat pulling the GameCube off the shelf one time playing Metroid Prime, and like the lid popped open and the disc went flying across the room, and then after I got it all put back together, it just resumed the game and kept going. Like I didn't lose any progress. Wow. I was just amazed.
That's cool.
That thing was put together that well.
Cat's seen better days.
Yeah. All right, last email. Logan from Nashville. The shower talk on last week's episode came hot on the heels of a real-life shower conversation I had with my friends at work. They think my shower routine is ridiculous, and I'd like you to weigh in on it. What I have is what I call the 3-brush system. I have 3 shower brushes, one just for my face.
Ridiculous.
One for open skin, and one for feet and crevices.
Opens? Okay.
I also recently complicated the matter by further by adding a secondary antibacterial soap to the most unfortunate of the 3 brushes to try and kill any remaining odor-causing bacteria in the pits and feet, etc. I am a blacksmith and metal fabricator in a non-climate controlled shop in Middle Tennessee, where summers can definitely top 100 degrees Fahrenheit with ultra high humidity. So needless to say, it is not an option to not shower before bed, as even on the cleanest day at work, there is enough steel stuck to my skin to stain my shower black. I actually hate taking showers, but accept the inevitability with a quiet dignity.
I understand.
In that environment, it's fine.
I understand having one for face and one for everything else. That's as far as I personally would go.
It's an order. You take the washcloth. Like, he needs a brush because of his job, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty clear.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, the brush part was the part where
Though
man.
his coworkers call him crazy for having this, and I'd like to know what their strategy is. Because this sounds like, if you were to tell me this is the regular blacksmith shower routine, I'd say, sure, yeah, fine.
Yeah, you got it.
But it sounds like even they think it's a little ridiculous.
For me, it's order of operations. You start with the face with the washcloth, and then you do the body, and then crevasses and feet.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then,
Work your way down.
but then next time you're starting right after coming fresh off of
You
working
don't
on
use
your...
the same washcloth twice, Ben.
Oh, well, I'm talking if you have like a loofah or a shower brush or something.
Well,
like...
that's a different thing. Like, you don't use a loofah in the crevasses.
How do you handle what?
How do you get it in there?
What do you do? Do you have a second
Wait,
loofah?
Just ram bar
what
soap
do you
in that
mean?
area and just hope for the
What do you
best.
mean? How do you get it in? It's made of cloth.
A loofah is like a big thing that's
Big
like
tube thing.
it's a tube.
What are no?
It's a sponge
The
tube.
puff ball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
you
thing,
think of the puff.
loofah.
I'm not putting the puff in my delicate areas. It chafes. It's too scratchy.
Oh, it's fine.
No, it's not.
It's fine.
Do you want to exfoliate or not?
I don't look.
Sounds
there are
like you
parts
need to
of me
toughen
that
up
don't
your
need exfoliated.
crevasses.
I like my crevasses to be soft and supple, Ben. I don't want
We have to end
leathery
this podcast.
crevasses.
You don't want
I'm
calluses.
learning about Will Smith's crevasses. We need to end the show.
You don't want to get some calluses going.
Look, I'm with Jeff. Reality, I just take a bar of soap and kind of run it all over me and hope for the
the
best.
stink runs deep. You need some
Wait, are you sharing that
microfibers
soap?
to get in there.
I've
Anybody
been married
else?
for a long time.
Wow, that's a level.
It's soap. It stays
Yeah,
fucking
the
clean
soap-
because
the
it's
soap-
soap.
Dude,
Self-cleaning.
The soap comes off on you. You don't come off on the soap.
You make sure that there's no hair stuck on
yeah,
the soap,
exactly.
like
Yeah.
a decent human being.
Can I just do a really quick check?
Good job.
Yeah.
Everyone at this table washes their towels, right?
Fuck yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Who-
Okay.
What?
Because I have run into multiple people who are like, "Oh, you don't need to wash a towel because when you come out of the shower, you're clean."
So here's the
Not
thing.
completely.
If you have one of those
Oh my
towel
God.
drying racks, the problem isn't the towel is dirty from you. The problem is the towel gets shit growing on it 'cause
Yeah.
it's damp.
Yes.
If you have one of those drying racks, you can go a long time without washing the towel.
Yeah.
I don't have one of those drying racks, and towels will get foul.
Yeah, I mean, you're
they
still
will
gonna have like
foul.
skin
Yeah, no,
cells
of
and stuff
course.
building up on there.
You
And
need to
knowing now
exfoliate
that
better.
you don't treat your crevices right, like I'm
Look,
even more
man.
suspicious of your towels.
Look, come over. You're welcome to use my towels anytime you want, Ben. You can judge my towels. You can let me know what you
Okay,
think.
but I'm bringing my own loofah.
I don't want you using my puffy thing.
Okay, that's it for emails. Apparently, we need to air out this room now. I'm not
It's
sure
got a
what have we been filling this enclosed space with. For the last-
Particles,
Yeah.
Coffee breath.
Unmentionables.
millions and millions of space.
Crevasse
Parts.
particles.
Do you guys like bath foams or you soap?
Soap.
Like the pumpy thing?
I
I want a
pumpy
goddamn
thing.
gel,
bar
I
of
wanna-
soap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
I like a bar of soap for the face. I like body wash for everything else.
I'm the opposite.
Shower gel.
I like lever.
Yeah.
I'm a lever
I want
man.
gel. It's just
Yeah.
I don't. I want to put a bar of soap on my body.
It feels like shampoo.
Yeah,
the gel. I
exactly.
don't want to shampoo my body. I'm not that
Yeah,
hairy yet.
no.
I got time.
I shampooed my beard for the first. I felt like I had a real beard for the first time in my life because I shampooed
You
it.
got to get beard shampoo. Normal head shampoo will dry out your face and give you all sorts of problems.
You
Okay,
gotta get some
Yeah.
oil for that, Ben.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
get some. I get lime
but it was
flavored
fun.
shampoo. It's very
it was
good.
it was my first. It
Lime
was
flavored.
okay. Don't ruin my first fun time shampooing my beard. I'm not gonna.
It's
I was
good.
just having fun.
That's good.
Don't shampoo a shampooer.
Don't shampoo poo me.
I don't want to yuck your yums. I'm sorry, Ben.
All right, that's it for emails. Thank you for being here, Will Smith.
Thank you for having me. I'm always amazed that you keep inviting me back despite my performances here. But
Yeah. Well, after this crevice talk, we're gonna
we
go
can
back to the board.
reevaluate.
The smell hasn't driven us away yet.
Very good. Very good.
After show coming up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I got like 60 new voicemails.
Whoa,
that's filthy.
Damn.
yikes!
Some of them are good.
Do you screen those?
Yeah.
Actually, good this
sounds
time.
sounds dangerous.
Oh, I have a plug.
Oh yeah, please.
I'm playing in a PUBG tournament on Saturday
Okay.
at noon Pacific.
All right.
You can watch me on Twitch.
Twitch.tv
that Will
/ Okay.
Yeah.
Not that Will Smith.
Yeah. I think it's also on Twitch Roy. I don't know. It's a Twitch tournament thing, so I don't know who's doing it, but
Did you guys
I know
have
we
to-
can watch it.
Qualify in for that?
We were invited.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Wow.
Singles, what?
Doubles. It's
Doubles.
duos. So it's duos. It's Sanok, Miramar, Sanhok, Erangel, Sanhok.
Oh, cool.
First person. Should be fun.
Yeah.
What's your stream schedule? Are you still going
8
every
o'clock
night?
every night, pretty much.
Every night?
When I feel like it, but like at least 4 or 5 nights a week.
Still not tired of it?
I look, I love that game.
Yeah.
It is, you know, Jeff, you said Mario Maker's your forever game. Like this is, I haven't played a game this much ever, probably, including like EverQuest and WoW and Team Fortress and all the stuff I've played over the years.
Yeah.
That's dedication.
Like I continue, like now I've gotten to the point that I can just pick up a Kar 98, the single shot sniper rifle, see somebody running 150, 200 meters away and hit them 50% of the time on the first shot.
Pretty fucking good.
Like it's, I have not found a skill ceiling yet at 1,500 hours. And
hit him or headshot him?
Wow. Fuck, you can't hit it. Look, I'm not Shroud.
Okay.
Can't headshot somebody running. But
all right.
But you know, 2 hits in the body and they'll go down.
Do you feel yourself continuing to get better?
Yeah. It still plateaus.
Yeah.
So we talked about this a year ago probably. But like you get better and then you just hit a fucking wall and it's horrible for like 2 weeks.
Yep.
And then you figure out something or something changes or like your muscle memory picks up some new trick.
Yeah.
You can you focus on something else, and like learning something else can help you learn the first thing sometimes.
Yeah,
in a
kind
good
of.
way.
Like I just recently realized that I can put like a 4X on an AR, and if I have the right attachments on it, I can full spray it like 100 meters and knock somebody in a mag. And like, I didn't think I could do that.
Yeah.
And
Damn, I want to play some PUBG.
it's such a fucking good, like it is a bad, like it is broken and fucked up, and like desync is bad, but it is still really fun. There's nothing like it. So
it makes you think about that whole adage about 10,000 hours to master anything.
I mean, the first 1,000 hours, there was a massive difference in skill level.
Yeah.
Now it's as much about making the right decisions.
Yeah.
And when you have like 500 milliseconds to decide what to do, and sometimes it's as simple as like running left or running right or knowing when to back out of a fight or you know, whatever. But yeah, it's fun, and I feel like I've never been playing better. So we win something like 10% of games now usually, and our top 10 in half. So on pub servers.
That's pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Twitch.tv/
Not that Will Smith, all one word.
And Saturday
at noon for the plug. And
Pacific.
the Foo Show's on Steam. You can still watch. There's another episode coming not too soon. Not too
Excellent.
far now.
Cool. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you guys.
Everybody who is alive, stay tuned for the after show. Everybody else, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.